starting pitcher for the Sacramento, Oakland, Las Vegas Athletics.
The Vagrant A's.
And he went out and got a win against the Boston Red Sox. His second win against the Red Sox in a little over a couple weeks here, and he stinks against everybody else. You were right about that part.
I figured last week was the anomaly.
No, it wasn't. He's good against the Red Sox. It's just the rest of the league. He is their kryptonite. Red Sox lose 7-3. Good news is they have fight. Well, most of them. We'll get into Contreras in a second. They have fight. I turn it on, so we leave here 2-0. I'm driving home. I get home, I do a couple things. Boom, I turn it on. We're watching in the ninth, and it's like 7-2, which normally half-empty Fenway. Everybody's heading for the exits. Game was over a while ago. People are believing. People are standing up. They're watching, and it was this close to being validated. They score a run. They bring the tying run to the plate. The guy I had to look up 2 nights ago, Eli White, is at the plate, and he kind of hits it right on the screws, just right to the center fielder. Because I was thinking, a line drive to center field for a guy who's supposedly one of the fastest in baseball at Fenway Park.
Could be 4.
Could I see an inside-the-park grand slam? Tarps off, celebrate, rub your bellies, fat guy in the stands kind of. And he didn't. He hit a line drive to the center fielder and the game was over. But it was like, to me, in a weird way, that sort of exemplified how much belief we suckers have in this team right now. It's 7-2 in the ninth, and we're staying and we're watching and we're not thinking it's over because I guess with the way they play, it's not, nothing is over, nothing.
Yeah, and even, you go back to the eighth. If Sogard's, I firmly believe if Sogard's ground rule double hit the wall instead of the bullpen divider, I think they win the game. Like that's just how everything's going for them. So the fact that something finally didn't break their way, I think speaks to it. But no, I even noticed what was it, Thursday night, the marathon game, the 13-inning affair.
The greatest game ever played.
Now, by the end, there were some empty seats because it was 11:45 at night, but in the 10th, 11th, 12th, they would show those sort of wide shots, and I'm like, that place is full.
Yeah.
And it was disgusting that night. It was probably the most humid night of the summer, and people were locked in, and
I believe it was the second longest game of the pitch clock era.
Something like that. Yeah, it was definitely the Red Sox longest of the pitch clock era. So, I mean, like that doesn't happen anymore. Like,
right.
You just can't do that. So people were locked in, and people are locked in. They were locked in the bottom of the 8th when it was 6-2. It's kind of a sleepy situation. And there was a lot of booing. When I was watching the game, and Wilson Contreras grounds out, and the third baseman, whose name is Max Muncy, but not that one, he threw it over. He threw this lollipop over to first. And you just see Contreras kind of tail off and go in the dugout. And there was booing. And Dave O'Brien on the broadcast said, and there's some booing for him. And I said, I don't think so, Dave. I think the wave must have died somewhere, and they were mad that someone screwed up the wave. There's no way they're booing.
Lou Merlone walked on the field, and they're looing. They're not booing. Yeah, something
like that. Yeah. And no, they were booing in many ways like the heartbeat of the team.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
Well, I told you this before we got on. In one sense, it was very cool, and let me explain. I've been to a lot of Red Sox games in my life. I'll just say it was different in the 90s than it is now, in that when I go to the game now, it feels like nobody's paying attention to the baseball game.
Yep.
The baseball game is a sideshow to the Fenway experience and the nightclub and the do and the light shows and everything like that.
Yep.
So the fact that in a 6-2 game, people are like, hey, that guy didn't run it first. Boo! Generally, big picture, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, let's hear the audio of what Michael is talking about.
Chopper at third. White up with it. And one gone. And the crowd booing him a little bit there.
A little bit?
One man away.
One man away.
It was just a frustrating day. Just rolled this thing over and just dropped the bat, and we didn't give much of an effort down there. And the fans, even though this team's on a hot streak.
That was not a little bit of booze or a smattering of booze. That was the bulk of the attendance not happy. And you can tell right there, my guy Lou Merlone at first is like, not really sure what I want to say about this right now, because as you said, Fenway faithful. Interesting, they're called the faithful.
This is after the most successful stretch in Red Sox history.
And the guy who you just accurately said is sort of the lifebeat of this team.
Yes.
The
And it's a guy,
the energy.
we were talking yesterday. It was the All-Star break, and he's like, I don't want to go anywhere. You know, it was tough earlier in the year, but when we're good, I love it there, and I want to be a part of it. And I think that sort of set a tone for what you're getting in this clubhouse. Like, and did he dog it? He sure did. Has he been out this week with some mysterious ailments following getting drilled in the side of the head over the weekend? Absolutely. Right. So if anyone, and again, you don't excuse, if this was August and he's been dogging it all year, you'd expect something like that. This was literally one ground ball in mid-August when he's battling. Clearly, I'm not a doctor. I think it's very likely he's dealing with after effects of the concussion he suffered over the weekend.
And also in the midst of the most successful turnaround in the history of baseball. It's not like he is some embodiment of the lack of hustle that has led to the crappy play on the... No. They'd won 9 in a row. They're coming off a 15 game. We enumerated...
You did the 9 game, the 20 game, the 30 game, the 50 game, the 60 game.
It was an extended exercise that went 70 games deep. If you did it in 10-game increments, they're the best team in baseball. And the funny thing I say is it was immediate.
Yeah. And it was like unanimous.
Like groupthink. Yeah, yes. This was not one guy does it and then somebody else realizes, hey, yeah, he kind of dogged that. I'm going to boo too. And then it slowly spreads. It was like the whole park.
It was
instantly.
It was like the COVID games when no one was there and someone had the dials for the like booing, cheering.
Right.
It felt like someone just maxed out the booing. It was crazy.
And it is a guy that got hit in the head a week ago.
The side of the head, too.
The side, yeah, not a weird glancing blow where No. He got rocked.
Yeah.
It was targeting. It was helmet to helmet if this were the football field, right? A penalty.
Right above the ear, sort of side of the head, and it was blunt. It wasn't, like you said, it didn't... A lot of times guys get hit, and the way their heads are, it just kind of glances and bounces off. The helmet comes off. This was like clonk.
This was a knockout blow.
Yes.
A knockout blow, and he's dealing with whatever. And we don't know, not only because they don't tell us, but also because even if they told us, we wouldn't trust them because they're the Boston Red Sox, and everything they say about injuries has been wrong forever, certainly this season. See Roman Anthony, Garrett Crochet et al. It's not. I don't think it's a good look for baseball fans in Boston. I get your point of they care. But just because you care about it, Karens care too, right? These people that are yelling at people on like some weird video on social media, they care. The guy in the bathroom, remember the scandal, what was that, about a month ago? There was a guy, because somebody ahead of him had his 2 girls in the men's room or vice versa, and the guy's like calling the cops and freaking out because some poor dad had his 2 young daughters.
Yeah.
Like, he cared. Doesn't mean it was appropriate to express what he cared about in that time.
Yeah.
This was not appropriate, was it?
No. And I want to be clear, but what I said at the beginning is sort of a separate thing. That was just sort of like, I went to Wrigley last year, and I was just shocked at how many people were paying attention to the game, because the game is still the game in Wrigley, and where at Fenway it's just become a sideshow. But
even at America's second most beloved ballpark?
Second most beloved ballpark. They're still locked in. But no, Contreras, and it's just, I'm not going to do it, right? But nationally, I think I saw Michael Kay on a little rant on Twitter that someone posted. I think Jared Carrabis posted Michael Kay sort of being whiny because people are calling him out because he said something about the Red Sox when they were bad. And Red Sox fans are kind of getting nationally attacked for being sell the team, sell the team, fire Breslow, fire the manager, trade all the players, and then 2 months later being like, this is the best team ever, yay! And I think you've got to lean into this is the best team ever, yay thing at this. But you can't boo the moment one thing doesn't go well.
Right.
Like if this was Durbin in mid-May grounding out for the 38th straight time of 38th straight at bat, then he'd probably get booed. This is a guy who's very much at the heart of everything the Red Sox are doing, who's clearly gutting through something. Like whether it's concussion related or not, we assume it is. He clearly wasn't well. And he's out there on a blistering hot summer day trying to power through it. It's the 8th inning, and it's a routine ground out. If the throw gets away, he's going to be safe. If not, he's going to be out.
And he's never given you an indication that he doesn't care, right? In fact,
the opposite.
Some would argue he cares too much about every little thing.
Right. He's a guy, and he's a guy, I mentioned this yesterday. When Duran starts yapping at him in Sacramento last week, that could have really caused a problem. But instead he said, you know what? I love that guy. And it's just, inside he's like, he's nuts like me. And I appreciate that. I think there was a sort of recognition there, like, yeah, that guy's crazy. I like him. And so like that could have led things astray. Instead, he just downplayed it. He squashed it. So he is, I don't think you have a captain on this team, but if you did, I think it'd be him.
Yeah, I think it's too soon. I mean, obviously he just arrived.
Well, he's not. I just mean if you had to
The leader.
ascribe someone on this team to have that role, it's like him. It's a combination of the way Sonny Gray's come in. I think in terms of homegrown guys, I think Peyton Tolley's been an emotional leader.
Sure.
But Contreras is right in that core. And you just... Yeah, I would have taken note of the dogging it to first, and if it becomes a pattern, then maybe it becomes an issue. But this is literally once.
And I believe I saw he chose not to speak with the media after the game. Very smart.
Very smart.
Man needs to know his limitations. Man needs to know, he knows maybe I'll say the wrong thing. And he's skipped out on media a couple times. If that was the one criticism I would have of him all year, it's literally that. Mm-hmm. There was a game early in the year back when they sucked, back when they were still figuring out who they were and they weren't fun to watch and all that. He skipped out, and it was like a day after he had a big home run or hit, and he did like all the interviews when things were going good. Then the next day they lost, and he's like, yeah, I'm not talking today. And I was like, not sure I love that.
He's a baseball player.
Yes, he's a baseball player. But since then, he has done everything you'd ask him to do. I mean, hell, he goes to the home run derby. He has fun there. Like, he is the centerpiece of the fun Fenway 2026 Boston Red Sox. Now, what exactly is going on with his health? I have no idea. Not gonna. I mean, we do speculate a little that it could be related to getting hit in the head, concussion. I mean, a lot of guys go in rooms for a couple of weeks, dark rooms, right? Like hockey, football. We see that. Oh, he can't watch TV. He can't do this. He's at the plate facing 98-mile-an-hour fastballs with whatever's going on in his head.
He's got to deal with Gage Jump.
The great Gage Jump.
That's right.
He saw what Gage Jump did to them recently, and he knew what he faced that day.
Yep.
So
actually, he might have been out with the concussion that time. So he's like, I got to help now.
Yeah.
This guy shut us down.
This guy's the kryptonite for us. Maybe I can be the kryptonite for him. It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't the case.
He is in the lineup today.
Okay, so he's still healthy enough to be out there. We'll see. You know what I'll be interested to see? First at bat today. I'm going to make a prediction that he gets a standing ovation.
He should. I think they screwed up. I think the fans at the game, and now
how does that happen, though, that they all screwed up together all at the same time?
It was blistering hot. It was humid. You had to pay through the nose to get in on a Saturday game. I don't know if you ever I'll take the kids. It's a Saturday. Then you're looking like, it's $700. Never mind. So people were grumpy. That doesn't excuse it, but I think that's probably a factor. It was a longer, hotter Saturday afternoon in August. I'm mad. I'm just crazy.
We're losing to the A's.
I'm going to take it out on this guy. So I would venture to guess the people that are there at 1:35 this afternoon after Eric Miller uses his big belly to shut them down in the first. He's going to step to the plate. I think he's batting cleanup. So they got to get someone on. They got to get someone on. Bottom of the first. There should
now batting. Not
to be corny, but honestly, it should be like hey, on behalf of everyone that was here yesterday, that was our bad.
Yeah.
Because you don't boo that guy in that spot for that reason.
And I bet you, if this happens, and now we're obviously speculating and we're being theatrical here. If this happens, I bet you he gives a little something. A little probably taps his heart or, something. A little acknowledgement. Okay, I've screwed up before. I may have thrown a helmet in my time here. I may have done some things. So we can all be emotional. I get you. It's kind of like Duran. Maybe this actually fosters a connection. He's like, they're crazy too.
Yeah.
We're as hot as any team in baseball, and they just booed my ass. They're as crazy as I am. They're as emotional as I am.
I think, who was it the other night? The leadoff hitter on the White Sox that bumped him?
Yes, Ianaki or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Antonucci. No, it was
Antonacci. Sounds like
Sam
Antonacci.
Sounds like pasta. I knew it.
That was some anti-Italian on our part. But anyways, he takes the bump. He looks back. He's, "You all right, man?" And then the guy jogs away, and Contreras gave this little sort of nod, like, "Oh, okay, all right." I think that's what you get today. Like, all right, all good. Water under the bridge.
That little nod I took as almost the Kenny Chesney, in Boys of Summer, he says take a number or whatever, that classic football field thing. It was like, okay, we'll see where this goes, but it's I noticed. I'm not doing anything now, but we'll see where this goes in the future.
It might be next year, it might be 2 years from now, but I'm going to punch you in the face. I'm going to find a way to punch you in the sort of like the way there was the brawl when Contreras threw.
Yes.
Remember two guys, I already forget who, they just started brawling, separately, like there was something there.
Right.
That's going to be Contreras in 2029 when he sees Antonacci.
And the announcement, of course, there's a history. Roll the tape from a couple of years ago at Fenway Park. Park.
He
and
lightly grazed his elbow.
yes, indeed. He's Michael Hurley, Andy Hart here on a Sunday morning, taking you 10-2. Lots to get into. We've started with the Boston Red Sox here. They finally lost, and the home crowd, the faithful, are booing your best player in the 8th inning. Are you worried at all that Rob Parker's right? Was this the first step? He said it. He said it. They're not making the playoffs, and you just went out and lost to the A's, and the great Gage Jump had your number yet again. Any worries about the Red Sox? Adley Rutschman made his debut down in Worcester. He looked pretty good. Looks like he might be ready to help the Sox. We'll take your phone call, 617-779-0985. But we also have to get into Patriots, Colts, turf scandals down at Gillette Stadium. We got Jaylen Brown. Maybe not happy the way that Jason Tatum wasn't available. We got some interesting audio there. That's a theory that I have posed previously. We got the WNBA with some Bill Laimbeer-esque stuff on the court that I find very entertaining. Lots to get to you with 617-779-0985. It's Hart. It's Hurley. It's a Sunday.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
it's impossible in baseball. They've done all of this to climb out of a hole. They're in the mix now, whatever. One bad week can send this thing going the other way. They can't keep winning at this clip.
Well,
There's no way to...
No one can win at this clip. However,
New England sports hater? Is that a fair assessment?
I would say it's a top line on his resume. Like if you were to bullet point, he's from Detroit, right?
Yeah.
So you'd start there. He probably was the Detroit Free Press.
Sure.
Yeah, something like that. They did the radio there. So that's the second line. And the third line is just makes a living antagonizing New Englanders.
And you really can. I remember I talked to Pete Prisco about this one time, that he used to kind of manipulate Patriots fans. He would post certain things that he knew would resonate not just in Jacksonville, but he could get some extra clicks out of the Northeast, and that's
calling
the business.
Tom Brady the loat, luckiest of all time. You think that bugs people?
Yeah, it's funny.
Prisco also kind of does that to every fan base, I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of his thing. That's a personality trait.
Yep, and it works for him. He's made a nice little career out of it. So Rob Parker is maybe, I'm going to say, the only guy I've heard right now, because he kind of got lost in his own argument there. No one can keep this pace up. No crap. No one said they had to. And there's no place in the Major League Baseball standings where it says they have to keep this pace up.
That'd be amazing. They'd win a lot of games.
Have you heard that if the playoffs started today, the Red Sox would be in it? Comfortably in it. Comfortably in it. But, so let's just ask the question, though.
Yeah.
Rob Parker poses some doubt. And I'm guessing if you're Rob Parker, you look at a loss to the A's in which Jake Bennett gave up, 4 earned runs? Okay, that's part of that pitching that you're touting, young pitching, all that.
Third time through was a problem yesterday.
And young pitching that some are, if you're a cynic, maybe some are wondering, can the young pitching keep it up late into August, into September? If they falter, what does the rest of the team do to lift them? Blah, blah, blah. Any concerns? Like, you watch that game after you mocked Gage Jump.
My bad.
After you mocked him and then he bit you in the bum. Any concerns that there's any veracity that this team is due for some pendulum swing back to they did lose at home again, by the way. They had just gotten to 500 at Fenway Park. Now they're a sub 500 Fenway Park team again.
Do you want the honest answer, or do you want me to do a radio answer?
Always want honesty,
All right,
Michael
ready?
Hurley.
Here's the answer. Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
617-779-0985.
No, I just...
Your guy Burgos, is that
how
his name?
many-
He gave up a few runs.
How many baseball games this year, not even Red Sox games, do you think Rob Parker's tuned in for?
Not a lot.
How many Red Sox games do you think he's tuned in? It's just, you look at the results, and again, none of us can explain it.
And he reads the box score and goes, who? 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 And he's kind of right doing
Anthony
that.
Siegler? Who's that?
I did who 2 nights ago. White at the plate. I'm like,
yeah.
Who the bleep is White?
Still can't remember who they traded for him. We should do that. Let's do trivia. It's been a week. The trade deadline was Monday. It's been less than a week. I already forget. But they, like you said, there's no way to keep this pace up. I think, and I know they lost to the A's yesterday. I think they'll win today. They'll win the series. I think the schedule in August is simply too easy for them to fall apart. I think at 500 at worst for the month of August from here on. From here, even if they play poorly, even if they blow games like yesterday, it's going to be difficult. You're going to Pittsburgh. You look at this, the way the schedule plays out. You have such a cakewalk through the rest of the month. Outside of the Diamondbacks, who are decent, they're pretty good. You got the Blue Jays, who are in absolute free fall this year. You've got the Giants coming in town. The Giants not having a very good year. You're going to Miami to play the Marlins, who have been good twice in my life, in 1997, 2003. It is neither of those years. And then I think, you end with the Yankees, which is going to be a very fun series. I think we're all going to say playoff preview, etc. I don't see them falling apart with that stretch. It's just, I know that they proved earlier this year they can lose to anybody. They can lose a series to the Rockies if they want. But things have changed. I don't think it's worth panicking. I don't think it's worth worrying about. But if they lose today, I'm sure some people will be like, see, I told you. I told you. I even saw it yesterday on Twitter. People being like, this lineup stinks. I told you the pitching's too. And I'm just like, wow. You see a lot of things on Twitter, so take it for what it's worth. Oh, yeah.
You see a lot on Twitter, and you probably shouldn't put much credence in most of it.
But you know what I did think yesterday? I have to admit, you want honesty? There were multiple points yesterday. Jarren Duran came up in big spots. Just terrible strikeout. And I'm watching Connor Wong in big spots. Just awful at bats. And I'm like, how is a team with Connor Wong and Jarren Duran in it being this successful? I just don't quite get it. So it's always sort of looming. The doubt is always sort of under the boil, right? Like, this team is not as good as the results showed, but the results are the results.
So let me give you some options to deal with two specific guys you just brought up. You didn't like seeing Jarren Duran come to the plate. You didn't like seeing Connor Wong come to the plate. Mm-hmm. Would you like to see Roman Anthony come to the plate?
Yep.
Because he could be your left fielder and bump Jarren Duran out of the lineup. And Adley Rutschman, who made a nice debut for the Woo Sox yesterday.
He made the Iron Pigs his subservient servant. Yeah. No, Rutschman needs to get here ASAP.
And did you see the results?
19-0. Big night for the Woo Sox. Big day for the Woo Sox.
Couple walks, RBI double that he smoked, according to the video I saw.
Yeah, so you got to hope he'll be joining the team sooner than later. I don't know how his wrist is. I haven't checked in on it, but...
And you're a wrist expert.
I am a wrist expert.
I can see that based on the brace you're wearing.
Those things can be tricky. But you asked about Duran specifically with Anthony. Not only would I like to see Anthony replace him in the lineup, I would like to see Anthony replace him in the lineup in the 8th spot, in the 7th spot.
Oh.
I would like the pressure to be firmly off Roman Anthony's shoulders because they put way too much on them to start the year, batting him leadoff, saying he's our guy. Like, basically, they set the team up where if anything good was going to happen, it was going to be because Roman Anthony was going to lead them there. And it's been that way sort of since last year when after I think he batted 6th twice, and then they're like 3rd, 2nd, and it was just a lot fast. And I think considering the way things are going now, I'd love to see Roman Anthony step in as the 7th hitter for this team.
Plus, you don't need him in leadoff because you got a leadoff hitter who's batting .450 with a 500 OBP and a 950 slugging.
Is that my guy, Jahmai Jones?
Jahmai Jones.
The
had
lefty
3
killer.
hits yesterday, couple runs scored. He only scored 3 runs. He scored 2 of them. So.
Should we give a little Breslow credit for that? Because this was a guy, he tore it up last year against lefties.
Yeah.
Right? Was awful this year. Was DFA'd. I think in June he was hitting like .061 for the Tigers. And they're like, all right, buddy, you got to go. And he had 13 hits in 57 games with the Tigers. He's got 9 hits in 12 games with the Red Sox.
It's pretty good now.
He's got 4 doubles, which is twice as many as he had all year with Detroit. So a good find by Breslow. He's like their Romy Gonzalez / they're the 2 lefty killers last year. He's the guy they found. Rob Refsnyder was the other one.
Do I give Craig Breslow credit? Am I willing to give Craig Breslow credit? That's a good question that I'm going to answer next with your phone call. 617-779-0985. It's Hart and Hurley on a Sunday morning here on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
news on our monitor is accurate, it's already in the mid 80s in Boston, heading towards 90s. You got any trees you're going to remove today?
No, I'm taking the day off from tree removal.
Yeah.
I'm not too good at it.
Yeah, I noticed. You're 1 for 5.
You know what else?
Ratio wasn't great.
What else didn't help yesterday? My car, I'm driving a 2011 Civic these days, not to brag. The AC is just, I've paid to fix it. How many times can you pay to fix the same AC on an old car? I don't know, but like I was driving in yesterday, it was hot.
You don't have AC?
I do, but sometimes I don't.
That's
Figure that one
out. Have
Yeah.
you tried the little can? I used to do that once when I had an older car. It's
not
like
to do
$30
it.
and you hook it up and
little
squirt
Freon
the
boost.
stuff in. Yeah.
They say not to do it because it's a closed system and you can throw off the balance, but at this point,
It's already not
what
working.
do I got to lose?
You can't make it any worse, and you've already given the professionals their opportunities, right?
They've had a few cracks at it.
Haven't been able to do it. We're not just talking about air conditioning or the weather. We're talking about Craig Breslow before we get to your phone calls, 617-779-0985. Do I give him credit? Jeremiah Jones was the guy that you were asking about in general, but
Nice pickup.
I don't know. I'm still hesitant because I still kind of, my big picture thing is his plan didn't really work. The planned team kind of sucked. The planned team gave this team the opportunity for the greatest turnaround in baseball history. And I look at, I think you mentioned it yesterday, kind of this AAA, 4A, try hard, Chad Tracy-led group is getting it done. I mean, did he acquire a bunch of this talent? Has he pieced together a plan B or C or whatever you want to call this? And a Jake Bennett, even though he gets the loss yesterday, Jake Bennett, he gets credit for, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Contreras, we're talking about him.
Contreras.
Gets credit
Sonny
for.
Gray, Ranger
Sonny
Suarez.
Gray. Those guys get credit for
Not signing Bregman.
not signing Bregman, but not really having a plan B other than telling the whole world that Anthony is going to be the greatest player in the history of the game. He went to the WBC, and Judge and Harper love him. He's a superstar already, and he wasn't quite ready for the spotlight.
So that was the plan team, Meyer and Anthony, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The plan team is in Fort Myers or no longer on the team anymore, which is part of his story. Trevor Story, also part of his story, for better or worse. So I don't know. I think I give him credit now. I think what'll put me over the top on his side is he was aggressive at the deadline. And I can't bitch for years about not doing anything and then not give him credit for going out and doing anything. I don't really care about the prospects.
Right.
You kept your best prospect. Maybe he's your shortstop late in the year, whatever. No, he was aggressive. He went and got a MVP caliber at one point in his career. So, yes, I'm ready to give Breslow credit, and
Monasterio's been good.
Monasterio's been great.
Durbin has showed what he was supposed to be. It took him a minute to get going.
50-50. And then you also got to weave in with some of these offensive standouts this idea that's percolating on the Twitter sphere that, maybe they're just cheating again and that the GM doesn't get credit. Maybe the more baseball operations field side is doing something that they found an advantage that gives them an advantage hitting. But yes, land the plane, Andy. I'll give credit to Breslow. He put the team together.
Yeah.
The first team and the second team, he put them together.
And I was just thinking, as we talked last break, I'm like, we did in this studio in April, in early May, Red Sox talk, and then it was sort of like, you can't talk about the team anymore. You've got to talk about big picture. You got to talk about firing the GM. You got to talk about trading these guys, fire sale. I sat here being like, Theo's going to have to oversee the fire sale.
Right.
And so credit, I guess, to the organization, because in early, mid-June, late June, it would have been easy to be like, all right, we could get a ton for Chapman, because deals started to go before before the All-Star break. You could have got a nice package for Aroldis Chapman. I was saying sell off anything that's not bolted down to the deck. I would have traded off Contreras. I would have traded all these guys, and they didn't. I think they would have if we were at late July and the turnaround hadn't happened. But still, they had some sort of belief, and we can disagree with it. We can say they got a little lucky, which they did. But again, I am beholden to the results, and the results say the Red Sox are one of the best teams in the American League this year. And I think I have to, like you said, it wasn't the plan, but he's done enough sort of, I won't say in the background, but he's done enough supplementary work to cover for the fact that the plan didn't work out. And that's something. That is something.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just got to figure it out on the fly, and give him credit. He's figured it out on the fly. Let's go to your phone call, 617-779-0985. Ron kicks things off on a Sunday morning. How you doing, Ron?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Hey.
So I'll preface this by saying I do truly believe that the Sox are going to make the playoffs, especially with the 3 wild cards. and we have a little bit of cushion right now. As far as Rob Parker's comment, there is some validity to what he is saying. As far as if you look at, we have 6 teams: White Sox, Guardians, Tigers, Rangers, Astros, Mariners. None of those teams have really gotten hot, like 8 out of 10 hot. And if you take the Red Sox fan hat off of us and just look at the rosters, like Seattle's pitching is pretty loaded. The Astros with Alvarez is getting, it's going to be closer than we think. Detroit, despite the fact that they got rid of Skubal and Casey Mize, they're actually a pretty formidable team. And like I said, I do think we need Crochet and Rushman. I think that would really make it better. I don't know how far these guys are going to be able to take us in September. It would be nice to get a veteran lefty like Crochet, even if he's used as a bullpen arm. It would be nice if he can come back in some capacity. And the catching situation, if Rushman can be the Rushman who he was when he first came to Baltimore. The first year and a half he was in Baltimore, he completely turned that franchise around. If he can stay healthy and be that Rushman, I think we're all set.
Thanks for the call, Ron. Yeah, and I do think that's part of the story. So if you're a cynic like me that tends to always think the pendulum's going to swing the other way, you're like, it can't be this good, and Rob Parker going the same theory, can't be this good, they're not this good, you can actually rationalize why they won't fall apart, why they won't return to the early season ways. Crochet is a rationalized. I don't know what you're going to get out of him. I don't know if it's too late.
I think he's got to figure that out.
Matt McCarthy was like, it's probably too late for him to be a starter, right? Like, you can't really expect him to stretch out, get healthy, stretch out, and be like 6 innings of Crochet.
Maybe he gives you 3 innings and then Bayo comes in.
That's my theory. And
that's 9 innings of pitching right there.
I don't know that I would have gotten excited about that idea if you had posed it to me in February or March.
No,
but now
Brian Bayo might be the Cy Young winner with the asterisk someone else has to start the game for him. One of the best pitchers in the league when someone else starts the game for him.
Kind of funny that he went from baby Pedro, opening day starter, to a guy who can't start.
It's truly
not a great career trajectory, but maybe it is for him. I don't know.
So many times this year, some poor schlub is in there getting absolutely shelled in the first, and then the camera cuts to Bayo, who's doing his little shoulder spins. He's doing what do you call this thing when you're just loosening up the arms, flapping your arms? It's like this is
like elementary school gym.
Yeah. It's like the Drew Brees thing that everybody's seen the warm up where he does this up and down the field.
It's like, how are you not embarrassed?
Pump rotations.
That is just embarrassing. But again, results are the results. When someone else starts the game for him, he's effective. So I could see that being sort of a combo because I agree with Ron the caller. They're gonna need a supplement to the pitching staff.
But they're coming, baby. Meade could come. You could get more than an at-bat and a half out of Meade. You could get Roman Anthony back in the lineup. You even got him at the bottom of the lineup, which would be phenomenal. If he's in the bottom of your lineup, that could change things.
And come in and hit 270 with a little pop, and that'd be great.
Hit me an occasional timely home run at the back end of the order down there. Get on base a couple times for the... Imagine that. Well, Rafael is now atop the order, and Anthony's now at the bottom of the order.
Rafael
Things really change quickly around here.
Good little player, that Rafael.
Very good little player. So you have those up, and Rushman, I don't know if he's going to be back to MVP caliber. I don't know. That seemed like the Orioles kind of decided that ship had sailed, and that's not who he was. But is he better than Connor Wong?
Yep.
Narvaez?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's an upgrade for a team that's winning a lot of baseball games.
Might not be better than Jake Rogers, though. That guy's the man.
You've become a big Jake Rogers fan early in his
I noticed he
tenure.
didn't play yesterday. I think they would have won if he did.
Wow. Are we now doing their record with Rogers in and out of the lineup?
2-0, 3-0, whatever it is. Jake Rogers is the key to success. But no,
I thought it was Siegler.
He's been pretty good.
I thought
too,
it was his record that mattered.
Actually, there was a point. I think they were like 27-4 when Siegler was kind of unbelievable. But no, I think if Rutschman moves into wherever he bats, third, second, he's going to bat up there. So I think that allows
third.
If that allows sort of the Connor Wong slot in the lineup to be replaced by Roman Anthony, right?
And that gives you. We were kind of mocking Rob Parker. How many Sox games have you watched? Are you just checking box scores? If you get Roman Anthony and Adley Rutschman in the lineup, immediately the eyeball test when you see the lineup looks like a more formidable major league lineup, right? Like as you add those, because you've heard those names. You know what those guys can do. You've watched those guys play. Half these guys, if that's how people are following the Red Sox, you've never seen these people play baseball.
Right.
Right? Jones.
There's people.
Siegler.
I actually, at my place of employment, wrote up a story. Red Sox acquire Jahmai Jones. Right.
Brag, I'm employed.
No, I'm sorry. It happens, but so he.
Jeez, victory lap on your own time.
So I covered that transaction, so to speak, right? And then a few days later, I'm watching the Red Sox. It was a Saturday afternoon game, and there's a fly ball to left, and I just go, I don't know who that is. And I think a lot of people have had that with Eli.
I work in sports.
Yeah, I actually wrote that story when he came. And then I think a lot of people saw Eli White over the past couple of days and like, who is this Red Sox player that suddenly is playing center or right
Gotta
field?
watch the Braves.
Gotta watch. Do you?
I watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're more entertaining.
Get a life. I'll get a job. You get
more
a life.
star power.
But either way, and that's where I think Craig Breslow gets credit for crafting and piecing things together and sort of the patchwork on the fly recovery. But I think you're right. If we're going to take them seriously, like they're going to make the playoffs, but if we're going to take them seriously into September and October, they're going to need those reinforcements, and I would add Crochet to the list.
617-779-0985, starting with the Red Sox this morning on the Sports Hub. Do you take the Red Sox seriously heading into the playoffs? Forget Rob Parker. They're making the playoffs. But are they a legitimate contender? I've heard lots of theories out there that part of the reason Sean McAdam talked about this, part of the reason they were so aggressive at the trade deadline is they looked around the American League and said, we can go to the World Series. We're as good as any of these baseball teams in the American League. Are the Red Sox a legitimate World Series contender? Your phone call, 617-779-0985. It's Hart and Hurley on a Sunday. Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
98.5, the Sports Hub. You put out a tweet. You're very good at that. You're good at the promotional tweet right before we go on the air. Well done. Thank you. Then it allows me to just retweet it,
Yeah,
which is
that's
even
nice.
better.
I got to do something, right?
Yeah, I love it. But you referenced, and we talked about it early in case you missed it. Ryan, you have that audio real quick of Wilson Contreras, the heartbeat of the Boston Red Sox, with a ground ball to third in the 8th inning last night. Doesn't exactly leg it out. And the Fenway faithful did not exactly enjoy what they saw from their player.
One gone. And the crowd booing him a little bit there.
Inning day, just rolled this thing over and just dropped the bat, and he didn't give much of an effort down there. And the fans, even though his team's on a hot streak.
So you asked the question in your little promotional tweet, did you boo Wilson Contreras? And Bill Sparrows on Twitter replied, yes, he gets paid the same for every game. Therefore, he should deliver the same effort for every game. If he's too hurt to do so, then he should sit.
Yeah, there's some validity to that, but don't you want like Caleb Durbin pops his finger out the other day. He was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He grinded through it, and we appreciate that. So you can't sort of praise the toughness and attitude, and ultimately at that point it's on the coaching staff and the medical staff. If he's not well enough to play, you hold him out. I think there's a fair commentary there, but not in that spot. Not in the bottom of the 8th of a 6-2 game when it's 100 degrees out and the guy's working through whatever he's working through. He wasn't beating it out.
Right.
And I know that's not an excuse, but this was not pattern. This is not part of his play style. This was one moment. I think you take note of it, and if it keeps up, then maybe you can boo next week. But I don't think that was the right spot for it.
I would also argue for a lineup that still has limited pop. I'll take his pop in the lineup and say, you know what? He's not going to be hustling, legging out infield hits today, but he might put one in the monster seats that will help me win a baseball game.
He might, and I want to say, I don't like to speak without numbers. I don't know if you could tell. I like to be accurate.
Numbers guy.
Since the home run derby, he's been fine. All right, he's been fine.
Come on. Forget the numbers and rip him. You were going to question him. You were going to rip him.
Felt like he's swinging over a lot of breaking balls. Seems like he's had some bad at-bats. Seems like he's had some struggles. But since the All-Star break, 965 OPS, I think you take that. Only 3 homers, but hitting the ball plenty fine.
Yeah, I would take him in the lineup at less than 100% because, as I said, I think the lineup has limited pop, and he's one of the guys that can do that for you, and you might need that.
He also, in the bottom of the 9th, to your point, got a hit.
Yeah.
Got on base.
Right.
Made what was almost an unbelievable comeback possible.
So, but there's definitely some mixed opinions, although there were no mixed opinions at Fenway. We can have mixed opinions 12 hours later or whatever it is, 18 hours later. There were no mixed opinions. They were all booing.
It was unanimous.
Absolutely, which I'm not even mad as Ron Burgundy. I'm kind of impressed that you guys got on the same. It might be the wrong page.
Yes.
But you guys all got on the same page very quickly.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
2 separate conversations, because I think I do want to spotlight that again. I go to Red Sox games now, and no one's paying attention.
Right.
The people, it's a wonder they don't get smoked. There's a reason there's nets all up and down the first and third baselines, because nobody's paying attention.
Right. Misguided, maybe. Misguided. But the fact, this is the kind of reaction that WWE works to get, to train their audience to all respond in the same way at the same time. And this was unprovoked, essentially. This was just, we're smarter in Boston. We're baseball fans, and I don't care how good you are.
Yeah.
You run that out to first base.
You just don't see it anymore. I was at a game where Chris Sale pitched an immaculate inning, and no one knew. Myself included.
I appreciate your honesty.
You miss a pitch here. You're not really and then I was with my friend. He goes, "Was that an immaculate inning?" And I was like, "Sure was."
That's awesome. Let's get to the phone lines for some more reaction to the booing of Wilson Contreras. 617-779-0985. Let's go to our buddy Ralph in Cranston. What's up this morning, Ralph?
Hey, good morning, guys. You made a point with the people that go there anyway. I mean, when they were losing, you still had 35,000 people go. They love the experience, and it is kind of cool. But I think it's wrong to boo him like that for reasons that you guys said too. But this guy is not right. Now, he got nailed so hard, and that wasn't the first pitch thrown at him. That's why I was livid. When he got nailed like that guy threw the ball, that punk threw the ball right at him. I expected them to either charge that mound or at least retaliate. And we saw Gray, who's a really good clubhouse guy, was seeing that. He retaliated, I think it was the next night, on somebody who hit a batter. And he threw and he plunked someone. I mean, that's baseball. And they let it go. But this guy, even at the plate, is not right. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying he just doesn't look like the same guy, let alone, from the All-Star break. But the last few days, he made a nice play to throw the runner out at home. But I don't think Contreras is right. And I don't believe what they say. I think they got a terrible medical team here. I mean, they're saying, well, he was sick, he had this. I don't know if that's even true. But they've proved that their medical team is screwed up because they were looking at the catcher. Well, we're going to check our medical people. We're going to check them out. You should have checked them out before you got them. I'm glad they made that trade. But I don't believe in their medical team as much. But don't boo the guy. Like you guys said, I mean, he's really your power hitter. You lose this guy in the middle of the lineup. I mean, especially with the playoffs coming around, which I think they will make, you're in serious trouble. Don't boo him. Today, cheer him and say, you know what? All right, we understand you're playing through this, because he is, guys. I've never seen anyone get hit harder directly like that. I mean, harder, I've seen plunks, but that was terrible. That guy flew right at his head.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. I think we're on the same page, and we did bring up earlier maybe an opportunity for the Fenway fans today, first at bat, to give him a nice ovation and kind of a make good after whatever took place last night. And also a consideration here is, you do see, so he gets a hit, or the play Ralph talks about 2 nights ago, the throw to first, where he rightly comes off the bag, throws to home, gets a great, awesome.
He's got a cannon.
He's like making some good plays, so it's like, where is he health-wise? Where is his illness? And then you add in that it's 90 and humid and how maybe that could impact you if you have some head issues or whatever.
Well, Chad Tracy, I'm reading Christopher Smith had the quote after the game last night. Chad Tracy asked about Red Sox slugger Wilson Contreras not running out the grounder. Quote, I know how that looks, but I'm also aware more than others that he's a little beat up and told us before the game, I don't have everything today.
Right.
And I'm going, like, a lot of people are like, oh, God, we got to get rid of the interim tag. We got to bring in Chad Tracy. Have some sense that you have a guy who's been carrying this team offensively this year, who got hit in the, right behind the ear flap, pretty flesh 8 days ago. And you're right. It's hot. I don't think that he's 100% right. I don't think you necessarily are in a position where you have to be, rushing him back. I know he probably wants to play. He's not right. And the idea that Chad Tracy is going to continue to just roll him out there at first base and go, he told us he's not feeling great. That should have sent off alarm bells that oh, wow, he's not hustling to first. He probably isn't right. So I don't understand this rush to we got to put him out there. He's got to be out there. He wants to play. How about you protect your player, Chad? How about you do that? How about you take a guy who's probably still concussed right now and not feeling great? Let him sit for a couple of days until he's good. All right, that's what a good manager would do.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for an interim manager. It's a tough situation for a player who wants to play, who knows his team isn't exactly loaded with offensive firepower.
Dr. Kevorkian and the rest of the staff over there are not going to tell him to sit out. So somebody has to be an adult. Somebody has to go, this is stupid. You're not right.
Right.
You're going to sit. Because I'm in charge. I don't know who that person is, but somebody should be doing that with Wilson Contreras.
He's a hard guy to probably say that to. Probably the hardest
tough.
guy.
Well, you know what? A good manager would be able to grab him and be like, this stupid game against the Athletics, the homeless A's. We don't need you for this. We need you to be right in October, in theory, because that's what we're playing for, right? Sit down. We got Nick Sogard. We'll patchwork this because we patchworked literally everything else we've done this year. We'll figure it out. What Wilson Contreras needs to focus on right now is getting healthy, and I don't necessarily believe that is what his team is doing for him. I think it's bad. I really do not like. I don't like that quote. I don't like that he's still playing right now.
And the lack of belief in the medical staff is part of this. So does Chad Tracy believe what the medical staff say? I'm sure he gets reports on every player. He's gone down the same bumpy road we have, right? Of, do I trust them? They're the quote-unquote experts.
He dodged a bullet.
Well,
did he dodge a bullet, or did the bullet hit him?
And you've been around football for a long time. You know that of all the things that are the most difficult moving target for the medical community, everything in athletes is concussions.
Yep.
It's all about reported symptoms.
Right.
So it's sort of one of those things where if he's feeling better and he says he's feeling better, there's no x-ray that's going to say, yep, he's better. It's just you kind of got to roll with it. So it's a tricky thing, but This is probably the corniest thing I've ever done. Maybe you too. I think I'm with you. We're promoting it. Anyone driving to Fenway right now, I think you got to give the guy a little ovation in his first at bat, because you know what? Everyone yesterday goofed.
Yeah.
It was a goof.
Right. It's an understandable goof. You were trying to be a passionate, well thought out fan, and you kind of went off the tracks. It was hot. You'd had a bunch of beers. It was late in the game. The same reason he doesn't feel quite great is also affecting you. The stress, the heat, the whole thing.
You ever snap at your kids and then 10 minutes later, I'm sorry, I don't know. I was mad about something else. Sorry about that. That's all you got to say. My bad.
I did it once coaching too. Snapped at a kid, not mine, and saw his face change, and immediately one of the most regrettable moments of my life to watch, like a 11-year-old, whatever it was, that I immediately was like, that's not a kid you can talk to that way, and I felt so bad. And and I made up, and I talked to him about it later, and we were cool. But this is the talk about it later phase for Fenway fans.
Yeah.
Go to the park today. Cheer Wilson Contreras, make him feel good about whatever he's going through and putting his body on the line, and he's investing his best in you. Why don't you reinvest your best back in him? 617-779-0985. We'll continue to take your phone calls on the Red Sox. This weird Wilson Contreras booing, the heartbeat of the team getting booed for not hustling yesterday. We're also going to turn our attention to the Patriots a little bit. Drake May. How good is Drake May? Matt McCarthy has some questions. Where do we put him on the hierarchy of NFL quarterbacks? And in extension to that, we know he's the most important player on the team. We're going to delve into who's the next 2 or 3 most important members of the New England Patriots heading into the 2026 season, coming off a Super Bowl. All that in your phone calls next. 617-779-0985. It's Hart and it's Hurley on a Sunday.
From the Delaware Tiger Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
Below the surface there. Kind of like what you did.
There's hope on horizon for these long-suffering Red Sox fans.
Are you excited about Adley Rutschman? Is that an exciting addition?
Yeah, I think I was telling you yesterday, I love baseball. I'm a baseball lover. And it's in my bones. It's in my fingernails. I love baseball, right? And so there was a video the other day of Adley Rutschman just popping out of his crouch and making throws to third and second the other day. And I was like, oof, that is what a 1-1 pick looks like right there.
Okay.
He is... And that was the one thing I mentioned yesterday. It wasn't a foolish thing to be like, oh, are you going to mess with the pitching staff? The catchers have worked really well with them. This guy is legit behind the plate.
Pop time.
Oh, my God. Did you hear it? Just the way it hits the mitt.
Crack.
He's so big.
It's like Barth's hang time from the punts from Behringer.
I
had a 5:01 hang time on that.
If I could, the funniest moment Friday, they're doing the scrimmage. Everyone's like, oh, DeVito to Pop Douglas, huge play. Drake May struggling. Gabe Akis with a sack. Barth's like... Well, they took a little break and did a punt period, and here are all the hang times. I'm like, I just want to kiss this guy in the forehead. I love Alex Barth. But no, I am excited for Rutschman. I don't know that he's going to hit to an extreme level, but he's going to be a decent hitter, which you haven't gotten out of your catchers necessarily. So it's really in a lot of ways what everyone sort of looked middle infield, which was a need.
Yep.
They kind of ignored that. They could really use a real legit player back there behind the plate.
Luis Ariz in second base performing for the Phillies. That'll be worth following.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a chance that he's good. Adley Rutschman's good. And yet it's not numerically obvious, or, like he didn't have 12 home runs in a 6-week span or something like that, or he's not necessarily batting .370 since he arrived in town. And yet you're going to hear Lou Merlone every night tell you how much he's positively impacted the baseball team. Or I might hear Michael Hurley talking about, forget the numbers. You got to really watch the games to see the kind of impact he's having.
I can't wait till our next break. I'm going to bring that video up and watch it. I'm going to listen to it full volume.
I look forward to that. Whatever gets you going. 617-779-0985. Let's go back to the phone lines. Terry in Marshfield has a thought on yesterday afternoon's game. What's up, Terry?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Well, first of all, Bennett pitched lousy. They shouldn't have booed either one. They booed Duran also, when he struck out in the 8th. But Bennett was terrible. The Red Sox couldn't hit against the Athletics. But my real question was, why didn't they pinch hit in the 9th inning when they had bases loaded? Because that guy, I don't think he's ever hit a grand slam or, did they have anybody available to pinch hit?
Thanks for the call, Terry. Terry, you and I, same page. I was watching that game. I was like, do we have anybody on the bench right now? Is there anybody can pinch hit? Because he's coming to the plate, Eli White, the infamous, the famous, whatever you want to call him, Eli White, coming to the plate. They did the White career bases loaded, and I was like, oh, that's not good right there.
His career, anything, is not very good.
Except you told me that hit, the expected batting average on that, what was that?
530.
530.
Just really unfortunate you hit it directly at the center fielder's eyebrows, which does happen from time to time. But you can't have asked for better contact in that spot.
Crushed it. Hit it on the screws. Garvin, what are you laughing at back there?
The expected batting average.
Well, this
is the junk that the Apple TV broadcast puts on.
No, that's crazy. Like a home run percentage, 2.1%. It's like I don't really follow that. But no, I mean it's a simple equation of how hard you hit it and what the launch angle is, and more often than not, you're going to get a hit out of that. And if that's a gapper, you're talking about a one-run game. But
also, just real quick though, because I'm with Garvin, these expected numbers usually crawl right up my keister.
Sure.
I also think, though, the eyeball test also told you there, like you had a little bit of that jolt when it left the bat, which is the same as the number, right? Like your body told that feeling of like, oh, did he? Oh, he didn't.
Yeah.
But it was close.
Well, so just to answer the question, they didn't take anyone. They didn't use any substitutes yesterday. They had 9 guys play, so everyone was available. Did you want my guy Jake Rogers coming in there?
What are my other options?
Let's see, who didn't play yesterday? Sogard? No, he did play. Ziegler? Did Ziegler play?
I feel like
I should probably know these things, huh? It's only yesterday, but
wasn't Abreu on the bench?
Abreu was scratched with a calf shin situation.
Has he never seen Kirk Gibson? Get your ass up there. The bases are loaded.
I think it was probably worse. Tell me if you heard this before. It's probably worse than Chad Tracy led on pregame. So yeah, you had Ziegler. Ziegler was available. You was Ziegler there, I guess, right?
No, I don't know. In hindsight, knowing that there was a 530 chance of a hit there,
and you screw
that's
up your
better
defense.
Than 50-50.
You're going to screw up your defense if you bring Ziegler, and I don't know who goes out and plays the outfield in the 10th inning.
I'm winning it. We're all in, baby. We're winning this
Ziegler's
thing.
grand slam, and then next up in the order would have been Nick Sogard to the walk-off homer.
Yeah, it was not great. It was not great right there, I will say. But Terry, you and I just got our answer. No, they didn't have anybody available because Willie Abreu was not available. But that was the obvious question.
Yeah.
Like that was a pinch hit situation if there ever was one. Unfortunately.
Actually, I forgot the great Masataka Yoshida was sitting there waiting in the wings. He could play the outfield a little bit. Throw Duran over and right. That's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. So
he let a ball go into one of the LEDs behind him.
Yeah.
Yoshida. Was that last year?
Yeah. No, he can only play left.
Well, if you remember a few years ago, they told us he couldn't play the outfield. Whatever that was, that 2 seasons he can't play the outfield. He's not an outfielder. He doesn't play the outfield. Not an outfield. So Terry, we have our answer. Basically, keeping Eli White in the game was the best case scenario there, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. 617-779-0985. But I will give the faithful, I'm going to say it again, credit for the energy that was in the ballpark, because everybody, and I guess you got to give the Red Sox credit first for creating the belief, creating this atmosphere where 7-2 in the 9th is not game over.
It used to be 3-0 in the second, game over.
That's true. Imagine how far we've come. Games were over with like 2-run leads, 3 runs lead. It was over. Now we're down 5 in the 9th, and we're like, maybe.
I would do like the dishes when the Red Sox were coming up, because I knew it was going to be a 1-2-3 waste of time. Like that was like, all right, I got 7 minutes here to go take care of what I need to take care of. Because there's no reason to watch this bottom of the 4th inning, and it has come a long way. And just to your, I want to give your body credit. You got good neurological system going. Eli White's line out was the 3rd hardest hit ball by a Red Sox yesterday.
See?
The other 2 were Jahmai Jones doubles.
Okay, Garvin would like to retort. Go ahead, Garvin.
I don't know that I can.
All you can do is hit it hard and hope it's not at someone's face.
I don't know
if
Hurley could come up with more useless information about what could have happened in an Eli White.
I'm saying he didn't fail in that situation.
He could have done the Homer Simpson lean in and taken one off the head and got a run off of that.
But then
numbers for that?
Then he'd be dealing with that for weeks.
And we haven't even gotten into his speed.
Chad Tracy would have rolled him out there the very next day.
If he hits it in a gap,
trying to swing with a push broom, but Chad Tracy crazy. No, he's fine. He's just not all there.
I don't care for the Garvin negativity this morning. We're trying to fluff up a late game heroic opportunity.
4 balls were hit more than 100 miles an hour by Red Sox yesterday. 3 were doubles. 1 was a line out. You hit it hard, good things happen most of the time, but it's baseball. It's baseball.
Yeah, we call those loud outs. Mm-hmm. That's great. When Rafael Devers was having loud outs where everybody like, oh, no, he's fine. He would have hit 600. No, they yelled at him and said he was a bum. But now everything's great with the Red Sox, and now we just kind of let this stuff go by the wayside.
All right, we're doing ex-Woba talk next.
Nope, don't have that. 617-779-0985. Continue to take your phone calls on the Boston Red Sox. Little adversity last night. Some booing at Fenway Park. They actually lost a game. Good news is they play the A's again today, and they can make everything good once again. But I do want to get to the New England Patriots. Turf talk, May talk. They have the Colts coming to town. There's a number of topics here, and we're going to start with Drake May because Matt McCarthy, I don't want to say he hates Drake May, but there's some angst against Drake May, and you don't find that too often. He's sort of the Rob Parker of the Drake May analysis right now. We'll get to that next. Hart and Hurley here on 98.5.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
By Alex Barth, just had him on the ropes, which led to him giving a take that he instantly didn't like, even though it was his own take.
Right.
Very strange.
I can relate to that. There's a lot about myself I'm not a big fan of, so relatable.
But he was cornered into saying that Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels better quarterbacks than Drake May.
And Dak.
And Dak as well.
He hated that one right off the bat.
Yeah.
That came out the mouth, and he was like, nah.
Well, because he prioritizes winning and performances in the postseason, and he's taking Dak Prescott over Drake May.
And Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels.
So what some of the numbers were, the debate, good defenses, is he injured, blah, blah, blah. He did go, correct me if I'm wrong here, my memory serves me, he went 3-1 in the postseason, right?
That's true, the results were good.
He went to the Super Bowl. How many Super Bowls has Jaden Daniels been to?
Maybe back in the Pop Warner days, or Little League as they call it elsewhere. I'm sure he won some. He's a good player.
Caleb Williams been to a lot of Super Bowls?
No, and I would even say you want to take college. Did USC do much when he was there?
No. How many Super Bowls Dak Prescott been to? I feel like it's a famous storyline across the country.
I'm trying to think. Dallas hosted one, but I think it was before Prescott came into the league. So his stadium hasn't even hosted one.
Right. So I am going to I find this topic very, very interesting because I love this world that Drake May has entered into. This went to a Super Bowl, top 3 pick, had a great MVP caliber season, but then I am also a believer in the cautionary tale that is C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels and these young quarterbacks that elevate their teams so quickly and are immediately in the conversation of top 5, and they change their team and the franchise. And then a year later, like, oh, he's hurt. Oh, he's not as good as I thought he was. And that's where Drake May is. Yep. This follow-up year for these guys is huge for their Q rating or whatever you want to call it. And so I love this discussion right now because we're going to get an answer in the next 6 months as to where Drake May is after following up an MVP season.
And be honest. Don't you feel good about it?
Absolutely.
Everything is in place for it to go well. truly everything.
Yep.
They invested in the line. They went and got the big name receiver. They have Josh McDaniels in place probably forever. Like, everything is sort of in a comfort zone. The only thing that concerns me about the offense really is the lack of depth at tight end. If Hunter Henry, bangs up his foot and needs to miss 3 weeks, I think they're...
Oh, Tanner Arkin is like this revelation.
There's like the camp story of Eli Raritan. I'm like, relax.
yeah.
Let's see a football game first. But that's literally the only concern on offense, other than health, which is always a concern anywhere it's football. But I do think big picture, what's fascinating about this is Matt McCarthy can piss off the entire region for having May ranked. What was the ultimate rank? 7th?
I think it was
Sixth?
7th.
Last year at this time, we were like, if Drake May can be a top half of the league, if he can be a top 15 quarterback, you're cooking.
Yep.
And now you're in this position where it's like, what? You don't have him 5th? You have him 7th? That's ridiculous. And I think that ultimately sort of shows what kind of good position they're in, May's in, everything. This is a good thing that Matt McCarthy can make people so mad by being like, I don't know if he's top 5 yet.
Right. Negative
Now,
is 7th or 8th.
That being said, you can get into the nitty gritty and be like, you put Caleb Williams ahead of him, all these things.
Yeah.
And can I tell you that, like, obviously the playoff numbers are bad. There's one Drake May playoff stat that jumps out. It's the bold print on Pro Football Reference. That looks fake. It's 21. Do you know what stat he put up last year in the playoffs that was 21? Sacks.
Yeah.
And some of those, sure, is the quarterback responsible for some sacks sometimes, sure. He was absolutely getting smoked last year.
Yep.
The Chargers were absolutely smoking him. The Texans felt like you would have to call some sort of law enforcement in because of what they were doing to Drake May and Will Campbell in the process. It was violent. And then the Seahawks obviously teed off on him. I'm not excusing him or saying, there's nothing you could do. Tom Brady was the best at getting the ball out. That's part of being an elite quarterback, but it's also a young quarterback in the playoffs against great defenses. He struggled. I would say he struggled in wins, which is much better than what a lot of people on those lists are going to be able to say. Like, he struggled. He made a play in Denver to win, to send you to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Like, he made plays. He converted 4th downs against the Chargers. Like, he made plays along the way. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't great. He won the game.
Yeah, this is it's an interesting and it's a high-class problem. Like, Bill Simmons, I think, landed on he's the 4th best quarterback, and Mina Kimes was kind of like pushing back against Bill Simmons that he's 4th. So it's like 4th is too high, 8th is too low. Okay, so we're in this little range here that we're really going to like argue to the death about. I have landed on the simple, I think he's going to have worse stats and be a better quarterback this year.
Absolutely.
Like, I think the numbers are going to come down. He's not going to complete 70 whatever percent of his passes.
72%. His rating's not going to be 113.5.
Right. And was it Jason or Devin, whichever McCourty was like, I've never seen anyone complete deep balls like this.
Yeah.
Like, you're probably not going to have that.
Remember in, October, every Sunday after the Patriots game, there'd be some sort of Patriots media relations stat that was like, Drake May did such and such. The only quarterbacks to ever do that are Tom Brady, Dan Marino, and Drew Brees.
Right.
And then the next week it'd be like, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Dan Marino never did this.
Right.
Only Drake. And you're
Right.
just like, this is insane. Like, that was a run that won't be replicated. But he's going to throw more than 31 touchdowns.
In all likelihood.
Probably
if he's healthy, yes.
And he ran for what, 5?
I believe it was 5. He's going to be a 40 touchdown guy. He's going to be in the range of 40 touchdowns, passing, rushing, whatever it is. And now there may be a few more turnovers and maybe some things don't quite go his way. There's going to be a few more losses. His record is not going to be as good this year. Probably neither in the regular season nor the postseason.
That's another thing last year. Everyone was like, Drake May has only won 1 game as a starter.
How'd that turn around?
It's really come a long way in a short time.
So, but he's definitely going to be one of the talks of football. Like, that's the level he's put himself into. And you get into this level where not even the guys in the top 4. We had this accepted top 4, universally accepted top 4, right?
Lamar?
Patrick Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, and
Allen.
Josh Allen. Those guys aren't as consistent as you would think for them to be locked in. And if you're looking at the Sando tiers on The Athletic, where all these executives and coaches vote on everything, those guys are all over the map. Like, Lamar is no longer a top-tier quarterback, and Josh Allen still is a top-tier quarterback, even though he's losing in the postseason. And last year was supposed to be his year, right? Last year was supposed to be his year. Go to the Super Bowl. You don't have to go through Lamar or Mahomes or Burrow.
You're acting like he had 5 turnovers in Denver or something.
So I love that this is what we're now talking about with Drake May is like, oh, he's not 4th, he's 8th, he's 7th, he's 6th. He's a great young quarterback, and we're going to find out just how great, in part, the way it plays out this season. 617-779-0985. Let's go back to the phone lines. I think Carl in Boston has a thought on Drake May. What's up, Carl?
Yeah, hey, guys. I think you've covered a lot of what I was going to ask, but my question was, given that Drake May's in his second season with McDaniels and that he's got a good receiving core and hopefully the offensive line is shored up and the running back room isn't bad, what will stop Drake May from having a breakout year this year, do you think?
Thanks for the call, Carl. Michael Hurley. What will stop Drake May from having a breakout year? First of all, I think he already had a breakout year. So, like, following up a breakout year with a good year, what will stop him?
Tougher schedule, I guess. I mean, if you're looking for reasons, like I just said, everything is in place. This is sort of the dream when you have your quarterback on his rookie deal still. You load up where you can. Like, you spent money on money and picks. You traded a first-round pick. Yep. You get A.J. Brown in. You paid a lot of money for Romeo Doubs. You built, I mean, they have probably not the best receiver room in the league, but probably the deepest, right? I think that's fair to say, which 2 years ago they might have had the worst.
Yep.
So they've handled that properly. I don't know. Like I said, everything is in place for them. There's a chance you go out to Seattle and have a tough night because you're stepping into the lion's den of a banner-raising ceremony against the team that beat you. That's brutal.
Yep.
So maybe he goes out there and has a rough night and everyone sort of takes a victory lap that has the doubts. I think he's going to be fine. I really struggle, and that's our job, right? To point out where things could go wrong. Outside of injury, everything is in place for him to have a better season than last year.
Yeah, the injury is always the first answer, and I'm not even saying just, he misses 5 games to injury. What if the situation we were in, Denver, Super Bowl, that like last 3 weeks starts in week 3, where you're like, is he hurt? And then we're like looking at this clip from a week earlier, like, did you see how he got up after that one run? Is he dealing with a shoulder issue? Is he dealing with an elbow issue? That could be the answer to this.
But not even him. Like Vera Tucker, if he gets hurt. If Vera Tucker and Moses are out. Like everything gets thrown. But that's every team.
Right. And then the other one is I just think everything went really well for him and his team last year. And I think football doesn't allow you to do that multiple, unless you're really special, unless you are Tom Brady or like one of these Hall of Famers that throws for 5,000 yards every year. I think football, the sport of football, will kick him in the cojones at some point this year. And it's like, how are you going to react to tough times in October?
There's one, I think Bill Barnwell puts it out every year, and it's basically looking at last year's one-possession games and the team's record in them.
And if you flip them or whatever?
Yeah, and the idea is, and I think statistics bear it out, if you win more than you lose, it's bound to even out over time. And I think it's a pretty good indicator. I don't know how many one-possession wins they had last year versus losses. They did beat the bag out of a lot of teams, so they might be exempt from that. But you're right. But we all understand, no one's calling for 14 wins this year. I think 10 wins is a hell of a good year for this team.
Yeah.
So
I think that was USA Today put out their like official rankings. I mean, predictions for the schedule. I think it was 10-7 for the Patriots, and I think 10.5 wins is the number. So you're right in that. Are they a 10-win team? Are they an 11-win team that Vegas has you betting on?
ESPN did a segment on Friday. I think it was Chris Canty. I think is working over there. Had a 14-3 or a 13-4 prediction. So we've gone from, are the Patriots getting enough credit? And I saw the face you just made.
Yeah.
That might be a little too much.
Quick math, by the way, Patriots went 8-3 in one-possession games last year, so probably due to be more like 3-8.
Uh-oh. If they go 3-8, they might be. They might not be an 11-win team.
The good times are over.
617-779-7937. Excuse me, that is not the phone number to call. It's 617-779-0985. If you want to join us here on the Sports Hub, Hart and Hurley taking your phone calls. Drake May, is he overrated, underrated, or rated perfectly properly right now? Your call's next here on 98.5.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Stephen A. Smith calling him out immediately for a pretty optimistic prediction for the Patriots this season. I think I'm more on the Stephen A. Smith side than I am. And by the way, Stephen A. didn't say they're going to stink. He's just like...
He said, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you, which good cut.
Yeah. Tough schedule. I mean, you start right out the gates. At Seattle, I almost always just presume that the home team in that environment has a significant advantage.
I think they've won. I used to know this number off, like 85% of the week one openers, banner raising, all that, they win.
And one of the losses was Patriots-Chiefs, right?
Yeah, remember that? It was Kareem Hunt, right?
Yeah.
Ran all over him.
So more often than not, when they put up a banner and the fans are like getting lubed up on a Thursday night, or in this case, a Wednesday night, there's a good energy, especially in a stadium that was built for noise. And the 12 is going to be all hyped up. Maybe they'll do one of those soccer-style marches through the city like their MLS team does. And
anything to draw attention on themselves. I don't care for those people.
Wow,
I don't
you
care
hate
for the 12? Well, we went out to Phoenix in 2014, and I was just overwhelmed by the number of people buying brand new receiver gloves and scarves and shiny. And I was just like, these people think they're the team. Not a big fan.
Wow.
Don't care for the 12s. They
hate in your heart for the 12s. Well,
that's the least of it.
You might hate them even more after the Wednesday night opener because they might be watching another Seahawks victory. But we're talking about Drake May, and the phone lines have lit up. Apparently, where Drake May ranks right now is a hot topic in the sports world, and not just here in Boston, but maybe all over the NFL. Because if you noted, I don't know if you saw this, Mr. Hurley, that in the Sando piece that I was talking about, the tiering of quarterbacks, it was something that stood out to me is there were executives that had Drake May as a tier 1 quarterback. There were no coaches that had Drake May as a tier 1 quarterback. He had the biggest discrepancy in the two categories for any quarterback. So executives, and let me know what you think of my theory why that would be.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know where you're going.
Executives look at talent and characteristics, right? Because they primarily are bringing talent into a team, drafting, whatever. So I think the executives look at Drake May, the guy that was drafted out of UNC that can run, can make all the throws, and coaches are a little more detail-oriented and basing it on what they see on the football field right now. Mm-hmm. Not whether he's tall and has a strong arm and is going to be great, but is he a top-tier quarterback right now? And they kind of maybe see some of the throws and the warts and the decisions and holding on to the ball that leads to sacks or trying to pitch a ball late that leads to a fumble, something like that. You think that would figure that out, why that's the case?
And I don't think Drake May is like a 3-4 read quarterback right now. He's probably a 2 reads and run. If things, and that's sort of what is the progression of a young quarterback. Like, I was thinking more executives are thinking long-term. Because you look at Lamar and you weigh it against the contract. You look at Burrow and you weigh it against the contract. You look at Drake May and you're like, pretty cheap right now. And I know that's a short-term thing, but I think that is probably a bigger factor for some of those executives looking at, like, if you were building a team today, you'd be more successful with Matthew Stafford, but if you're looking for the next 10 years, you think more Drake May.
Question. That's a great question. Real quick before we get to your phone calls, we see you lined up. Is Drake May, if you're taking any quarterback on the planet right now, you can take any quarterback on the planet for your franchise. And I say on the planet because I'll include like Arch Manning or whoever these guys are going to be in this incoming class. Is Drake May the number 1 overall pick?
I'm sure people probably would still like Williams or Daniels because they're same age, same draft class. I shouldn't say same age.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels played 15 years in college.
Yeah, that's true. Matt McCarthy would still take him 3rd overall behind those two guys.
Listen, Matt McCarthy got put into the Barth blender, and I don't fault him.
He did. He was on the ropes, and he was like, throw the towel! Throw the towel! He doesn't think it's an exhibition.
I went to school there. Don't get in a fight with Barth. He will throw you in the blender. But no, I'm sure he'd be a lot of people's pick. I don't think he'd be unanimous, but he'd probably be a good chunk considering he's still so young.
I wish Sando did that. I wish Sando asked all those people, like, if you could only take one quarterback for your career, like your career is going to be decided by this move, who would you take? I think Drake May would do very well in that poll.
Like 30 to 50% somewhere. I know that's a big range.
Yeah. Because Caleb Williams, everybody loves the talent, but they're not quite sure if they want to hitch their wagon to him.
Caleb Williams, the throw in the playoffs was one of the best throws I've ever seen in my life, rolling out, but that was one play.
Right. He's capable of that.
Yes.
But is he capable of winning you more games over 17 games, winning you more playoff games over multiple years? than Drake May or Jaden Daniels, who, if he gets healthy, is probably very much in the conversation. 617-779-0985. That's the number you need to call to talk to us. It's very important you know that. And Johnny knows that. Let's go to Johnny in Texas, who has a thought on Drake May. What's up, Johnny?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I think you guys are ranking Drake May way too high. You got Williams, too, and Jaden Daniels. You guys are all discussing guys who've dominated or had one good seasons. We're talking about consistency. I think it's disrespectful when you put Lamar in that conversation. Lamar has the highest QBR for active quarterbacks and passer rating. So I don't think how that's even a conversation to put him in that tier with those guys. Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, these guys are all tier 1 quarterbacks because they've had multiple good seasons. Drake May hasn't done that yet. He hasn't won enough for me to put him in that tier. I'll hang up and listen, guys.
Thanks for the call, Johnny. I think that's a very, very fair call. Because I think the biggest differentiation for stud quarterbacks is consistency. Consistency over a season, because whether it's Baker Mayfield can be as hot as anybody for a month or 6 weeks, and then you're like, but it's a 17-game schedule. Or Drew Bledsoe built a career in New England where, like, 8 games in, oh my God, Drew's going to be the MVP. And you're like, I've seen this story before. We should probably wait till the next 8 games play out, and then the interception ratio and touchdowns flip, and it's a different story. It is about consistency, but it's also about Super Bowls and winning, in postseason winning. And I think that's where Josh Allen, Lamar, certainly, are starting to be, we build them up to tear them down. We're in that, tear down phase because Patrick Mahomes is on his own level. I don't care what he did last year. He's a tier 1 quarterback.
He's the one so I think Lamar, and to add to the caller's point, Lamar doesn't just lead active quarterbacks in passer rating. He's the all-time leader in passer rating. So but he's coming off a down year, and I think people are wondering, McCarthy said in that clip, he's going the wrong way. Whereas Mahomes is probably the one guy you're willing to sort of have a much larger leash for because of how unbelievable he was for the first, 8 years of his career?
Right.
And he won. And so I think we're all sort of wary of, no one's writing Mahomes off because he had one bad year. And Lamar is getting written off, I think, but I don't think you or I put Drake May ahead of Lamar Jackson.
No. I mean, long-term, yes. My question about long-term, would I take Drake May or Lamar? Give me Drake May all day long.
You're also, this is not real football analysis, but to the larger point of success, results, Lamar Jackson has 3 playoff wins. In his career. So does Drake May.
Drake May. Equal footing there.
And again, did Drake May lead the Patriots to the Super Bowl last year? No.
I also think that if you're comparing, Joe Burrow's in a different situation because Joe Burrow, it's all about health. Right?
Yeah.
He has to stay healthy. He has to live up to his own, the creation of expectations. Like, he's supposed to be really good. And I love Joe Burrow.
I love him too, but I'm kind of sick of waiting for it. They made the Super Bowl in 21. And you think, and then they make the AFC Championship game the next year. Like, it's going to be Allen Burrow for the next 10 years. I know injuries have happened. I know they've had, but there's 2 elements. 1, his own health, and 2, just the Bengals. Like, there is the element where they are still the Bengals. They're still crossing the street to go to practice in the middle of traffic. There's so many things wrong with that organization that it's hard to, I think once you sign that big deal and you reach that next step, people expect big things, and Burrow's let Cincinnati down. Allen has let Buffalo down. So I think people look to the next guy.
The other thing that I think separates like a Mahomes from a Lamar Jackson beyond the obvious of, winning Super Bowls and that is, I think with Mahomes and even Burrow in a weird way, even though he's always hurt, the sustainability of style of play. And Lamar Jackson and even Josh Allen to some degree, is their style of play one that goes well into their 30s, late 30s? Can they do the Rodgers, Brady, even Stafford and be like old and good? Where I think people look at Mahomes, even though he is capable of some of the great athletic plays, he can also just play from the pocket. He's done a lot of play from the pocket early in his career, and I think people say, oh yeah, it's like the Red Sox. Is it sustainable? I think that is sustainable more than what's Lamar going to be if he's not by far the most athletic player on the field? And we even saw it last year. Remember when he came back and people were like, they were doing side-by-side clips of like, in the old days, he ran away. Now he's getting sacked in the backfield. Is he not right?
Or in the Patriots game, he was just like, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah. So the sustainability of playing style is a question.
And I think we saw it here. I don't know, in 2020, where were you at many of those Patriots games in the COVID year?
No.
So I was.
Wow.
So I got a front row view, a front row seat to Cam Newton, who was not only a dynamic quarterback and not only a dual threat, like all of that throughout his prime, he was physically one of the most imposing quarterbacks we've ever seen. So size-wise, muscle-wise, he had the body, presumably, to withstand a lot of the punishment that came with being a mobile quarterback. He couldn't throw anymore. And he was, 31?
Yeah.
And he was out of the league a year later. He was, people forget because it ended so poorly, he was a MVP quarterback. He was a legitimate offensive powerhouse, and he won the MVP. Ted Ginn was his number one receiver, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't as if he had a complement of receivers, and it ended abruptly. And I think with Allen, you're like, yeah, he's big enough. He can withstand it.
We'll see.
At a certain point, it does catch up to you. And I know we got to go to break. I just want to throw this in because we might not get to do it later. Did you see him take the field in those new jerseys last night?
I did.
Hideous.
Yeah, they're not good.
I know this isn't, again, not real football analysis. I don't think the Bills are going to win in those things this year.
Yeah.
It's not too late to pull them off, to just say scrap it.
Yeah, that's a problem. And he even was at the forefront a couple of weeks ago during a press conference. He's like, hey, guys, everybody stop hating on the new jerseys, right? And they're like, wait, we didn't say anything. He's like, no, but I know it's out there, and I'm trying to help the team. Like, everybody hates those.
They're ugly.
Imagine if you're the poor sucker who designed those or, like, signed off on them, too.
A whole team of people were like, yep, these are the look. And they look awful.
Yeah, they're not good. But their stadium looked pretty nice.
Yeah, though, somewhere in my algorithm, they're like, this guy wants to see every bad part of Highmark Stadium. So there was, like, obstructed view seats. There was gross food. So it's kind of funny. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm sure
superficially it looked like it was a pretty nice new stadium.
It was like front row in the upper deck, but there was the glass staircase right in the way, so it was blocking some of the views. And it's just like you would think at this point we have the engineering know-how to avoid that, but
or the AI know-how. Like, hey, AI, run a visual from every seat in this building and fix up whatever we as humans screwed up here.
And now I know I'm obviously getting shown the like 0.2% of bad seats in the building, but it still made me laugh a little.
617-779-0985. We'll continue to take your phone calls. Drake May. How good is he? How bad is he? Are you expecting a second straight breakout season for the superstar quarterback, or is there a regression coming? Is Matt McCarthy right? Is he closer to maybe the 12th best quarterback in football than he is the 4th best quarterback in football? It's Hart and Hurley on a Sunday here on 98.5.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Distracted, but there may be a portion of my brain that is already by the water. I told these guys coming in, I ordered a, this is kind of weird to admit on the radio, I guess, but a new floaty with a cup holder that I'm looking really excited into, like pumping up and getting out there with a Miller Lite in the cup holder and just floating my bum around in the water.
Speak your truth, you know? There's no shame.
Yeah, it's what I'm going to do. It's cool.
Then do you have to like test, like, all right, this is good for this beverage, but maybe not good for this beverage?
Well, I do have a concern over the size of the cup holder because can I get my metal koozie holder thing in the cup holder? Because sometimes they're designed just for like an actual can or bottle size, and if you put a koozie or cup holder on it, it doesn't fit in there, and then you're sitting out in the water and it's warming up faster. I guess that just means you drink it faster. Also, I have a slight concern that I bought this on Amazon. And I read some of the comments, and it says if you're north of 180, the flotation is not as good. And I'm a little north of 180.
Yeah.
Thankfully, to my friends at Awaken 180, I'm in that range.
Yeah.
The old days at about 212, I think I would have been underwater.
There's a distribution situation. As long as it's evenly distributed, I'm sure you'll be fine.
But, it's a beautiful day out there, and it's a beautiful day for a Red Sox game. And if you're headed into Fenway, make sure you got your cheering shoes on for Wilson Contreras. But let's go back to the phone line, 617-779-0985. We're talking about Drake May. And who better to talk about Drake than Jake in Boston? What's up, Jake?
So, Andy, to pivot away from Drake for a second. The last time we talked on the old station, you thought the Mike Vrabel scandal was ridiculous. And here we were during halftime of the Hall of Fame game, and organizational butt kisser Devin McCourty, of all people, was hyping up this scandal on national television. The scandal that was so big that there are more photos of horny Mike Vrabel going to Taylor Swift's wedding, which he bought his way into to appease Jen's wishes, than we have of Taylor Swift as a bride herself. There are more photos of Vrabel at Taylor's wedding than Taylor at Taylor's wedding. TMZ has been all over them. And even with that, Stacey James allowed Kay Adams onto Patriot property, but still won't allow fans to take videos from training camp. That's kind of ridiculous. They better not start 1-3. They better not start 1-3.
Is that your point? You think they're going to start 1-3 because Mike Vrabel had an inappropriate relationship with a reporter?
Well, they lost the Super Bowl because they were both out there. He had the two lovers out there at the same time.
Well, they lost the Super Bowl because they didn't match up in any way to the Seattle Seahawks.
Or your head coach was distracted. But Drake better... Drake, first of all, he was distracted. Second, this better not be a distraction, because if you go 1-3, 1-4, you're done. And then, on top of that, Drake better prove that regular season Drake was the real Drake and not playoff Drake and never won a big game in the ACC Drake. Because if that happens, it will be no bueno very, very fast.
Thanks for the call, Jake. I had my fill of Jake there. Appreciate the energy, but...
I think Vrabel, I don't know if this was the point. I think he did have a bad Super Bowl. I'm not going to blame Diana Rossini for that.
What Patriot had a good Super Bowl?
But you expected more. Like, you expected they had something. They never had an answer where it was like you're just waiting for some sort of counter, and they were just kept getting punched in the face. And then remember they scored, and it was like, well, you got to go for two. And then he didn't.
Oh yeah.
It was just not a good Mike Vrabel night. But I'm not going to blame that on what did he say? The two lovers being in town.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any. And I said it yesterday. He's right. Devin McCourty, whatever he called him, was on NBC bringing up the possibility that this could affect things starting right out the gates in Seattle when the going gets tough, that somehow, some way, this scandal and relationship could impact the way the players play for Mike Vrabel. And I said yesterday, you might have missed it, Jake, so I will say it once again. I don't understand it. I don't buy it. There are ways I can talk myself into that scandal having an impact on this team. That is not one of them. And, Devin McCourty knows more than I'll ever know about being inside a football locker room and going through scandals and adversity and whatever. I don't get it. I don't get how you can tie that relationship into it's the fourth quarter in Seattle and we're down 7 and I'm not going to play as well or try as hard because Mike Vrabel had a girlfriend who happened to be an NFL reporter. I'm still waiting for someone to clarify for me or explain to me how those things connect.
Right. Yeah, no, and I'm not going to be the one to do it.
Well, I mean, what good are you? That's what I'm here for.
I do some show prep. That wasn't on my notes this morning.
It's all over that Eli White stuff.
Yeah. Garvin, you got it for me? Why will players not play as well or as hard against the Seahawks when it gets difficult because Mike Vrabel had a girlfriend?
I don't know. Just objectively, if your whole thing is, control what you can control, don't be the noise and all that crap, and then you have then turned yourself into like a circus show throughout the entire offseason, maybe your messaging rings a little hollow.
Yeah, but maybe you're right. Maybe at halftime he's yelling something and they're like, did your girlfriend tell you to yell that? Like some snide remark in their head.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
Is it the reason? No, but I'm also not going to go, well, there's no chance that it had any effect on it. Like, there's probably a chance that there was something going on in his mind. I don't know. We weren't in there. I think it's probably more likely they just got outclassed. They were not ready to go, and your quarterback was hurt, and they could not get to Sam Darnold because Sam Darnold wanted to give you that game. But I'm not going to sit here and go, it had absolutely nothing to do with it, and we should move on and never acknowledge it again. Like, that's ridiculous, too.
Also, you mentioned this yesterday. I'd kind of forgotten about this era of history, but Devin McCourty was on the Patriots when Colin Kaepernick's situation and Trump and the home crowd was booing people, and Bill Belichick was writing, stump speeches for Donald Trump, etc. And they made the Super Bowl back-to-back years.
Right.
Three straight years.
Consultant when dealing with like internal fires, I would bring in Devin McCourty. Be like, all right, what do we do here?
Devin McCourty and Matthew Slater. I would bring them in, and BC High has Matthew. If they have any scandals at BC High, they're going to be well prepared.
I just think, it probably made a lot of people in that Patriots locker room at the time feel certain ways about Bill Belichick. And, of course, we're talking about probably the best coach of all time, so it's a different story. But it did not stop them from making 3 straight Super Bowls at that time, winning 2 of them. Probably would have won a third if not for the coaching decision in the middle one. However, I think it feels like a stretch to say it's going to affect the Patriots on the field.
Yeah, and I think it's a small percentage. And I'm going to say something that's probably inappropriate, but I think there are some players that might actually feel a greater connection to Mike Vrabel now than they did previously.
Yeah,
a small percentage. But I think there's probably some that are like,
oh, you dog, you.
He one of us.
Yeah.
Are you saying, Andy Hart, that there is some infidelity in the National Football League?
In fact, I think there's some athletes in all of professional sports that he really is one of us.
Don't say it.
He really is one of us. So I just, again, you might be right, Jake, and maybe they lost the Super Bowl because of Rossini, and maybe they'll lose to Seattle again because of Rossini, but I think those are 2 dots that you cannot necessarily connect with a line. 617-779-0985. Hart and Hurley on a Sunday afternoon now here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your phone calls next here after headlines.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, Dutcher and Hart, Owen Beetle, Felger and Mass, the Bruins, the Celtics, the Pats, the Revolution. This is
If you make it to 98, then you gotta make it to 100. Right?
I mean, people love round numbers.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like, do you still get, does like the Today Show still recognize you or whatever?
I think you got to be like 103 to even get that kind of pub these days.
They've upped it?
Yeah. People are living long.
Ah, damn.
Oldest
It's like
living.
fastballs. 100 used to be impressive. It's not anymore.
You got a 116-year-old right now in the UK. Ethel Caterham. Shout out to her.
116.
That's tough.
That is.
You got the oldest man, 113, down in Brazil.
Good Lord. That's
oldest person in history, 122.
Wow. I don't even.
Rest in peace. She passed away in 1997.
Wow. So if you're 122, 61 is midlife crisis.
Not bad.
Wow. There's a lot going on there. 617-779-0985. A lot going on here. Right now we're talking about Drake May and where he fits in the stratosphere of NFL quarterbacks. Obviously was the runner-up for the MVP and was in the Super Bowl. So got to be really good, but some people think maybe he's been overinflated earlier in his career here. And you can definitely talk yourself into that based on, again, C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, guys that are flashes and turn things around. Now, obviously, they didn't go to the Super Bowl, but they had like franchise turnaround seasons, and then the going kind of got tough afterwards.
My questions on Daniels, too, similar to Burrow with the Bengals, is he plays for an organization that even with new ownership apparently is full of boneheads, because Jaden Daniels gets hurt last year, and then it was a Sunday night game or a Thursday night game or a Monday night game, I forget, in December, and all of a sudden he's back out there playing hurt, and then he gets hurt again.
Right.
And I was like, why is he even in uniform?
Right.
And it's like almost like they were trying to sabotage their franchise for a second time.
For a second time when you have history, and it's a little like Ryan talked about earlier with the Red Sox, like sometimes you got to be the adult in the room. I'm sure Jaden Daniels is like, I want to play. You know, Joe Burrow has famously said, when I'm healthy, I want to play with my friends.
We
I play
saw
football.
his arm bend the wrong way on TV. Like, just don't.
Like some guys treat themselves too much like they are $250 million or $500 million entities, and then some guys don't treat themselves enough like they are $500 million entities, and that literally entire franchises, entire local economies are based on whether they are able to perform their job at a high level.
Also, injuries aside, they were 2-4 under Daniels. Then he gets hurt, and then he comes back in week 14, and they're 3-9, and he's out there like trying to beat the Vikings for some reason in a game they lost 31-0.
I do think the 2-4 was forgotten. Everybody thinks Washington wasn't good just because he got hurt. No, they were having a regression of a season. They were not on pace to go to an NFC title game. They were having that tough follow-up year to the breakout season even before the injury to Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, he played against Seattle. He was 16 for 22, 153 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. The difference, it wasn't the Super Bowl, so nobody was really paying attention.
Correct. 617-779-0985. Let's go back to the phone lines. Mark's been waiting for a while. He has a thought on Drake May. What's up, Mark?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I got a couple of points to make why Drake May is underrated.
Okay.
So we're going to start off by saying Seattle came right out of the rip. In training camp, Drake May specifically said that they have a chip on their. So I actually think that they're going to win that game just because of the chip on their shoulder. They lost the Super Bowl. They're going to have fuel added to the fire for this one. Then Josh Allen, they did nothing in Buffalo to help him out. They actually got rid of a great coach, I think, in my opinion. So now you have a no-name head coach now. What are they going to do? Patrick Mahomes, they did nothing to help him out. They did get a running back, all right? I'll give them that. But did you see what Travis Kelce looks like coming into training camp? He looks like all he did was drink beers over the summertime. So, again, I think that he is underrated. I think he's going to be great this year. I'm hoping for another 13-14 win season. Love you guys.
Thanks for the call, Mark.
I think Mark fell victim to some AI because Travis Kelce is fit as a fiddle.
Yeah, he's actually the opposite of that. I've seen people talking about.
It was a viral post where he looked real fat.
Oh, okay.
I believe it was fake.
Because I've seen more where people are questioning, like,
too skinny?
What's he doing?
Oh.
What's he...
He's probably trying to gear up his acting career, so he's probably trying to trim down a little.
Getting in shape, keep the Q rating high, keep pace with his wife, all of those things. I've seen some insinuations that maybe the increased bank account, both for himself and his wife, maybe has opened up some opportunities to better take care of his body or better enhance his body.
We've seen that with a star football player in town before.
It happens.
But
Sean McDermott, great coach. Did he say great coach?
I missed that. He's a great regular season coach. Not a great big game coach.
No.
But I do have major questions about Joe Brady.
Oh, yeah. No. Like, I don't
Goofball.
think they have a good coach now, but I don't think they had a great coach previously.
I mean, he got you there. He couldn't get you over the line.
And he turned the whole franchise around.
Yeah.
He turned that franchise from the losers that the Patriots owned for years to a playoff team.
5 straight division titles?
Yes. Right? And pre-Josh Allen turned them around. He went to the playoffs, I believe, with Tyrod Taylor, maybe? Somebody.
He definitely started. Remember that game in Jacksonville? I think Buffalo won 10-3.
Yeah. So he was a
Blake
good
Bortles.
Franchise builder, turnaround guy, regular season. I'm not sure he's a great coach.
Started a fight with Brian Belichick once. Remember that?
I kind of like that.
It was a little goofy.
I kind of like when guys pick fights. I'm not going to lie.
That's
I like
fair.
coaches with a little fire to themselves.
But to the point of the call, like, I can't remember being this excited to watch a Week 1 Patriots game. Like, that game is spectacular. I'm not going to bet on the Patriots to win it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go in with the right game plan, attitude, energy, and just shock everyone.
Well, they are, if you do the sort of measure it up against what the teams were in the Super Bowl, the Patriots have more improvements, and Seattle lost players.
Yeah.
I mean, Seattle's running back is now fighting every teammate he has in Kansas City. Every clip I see of Kenneth Walker, he's fighting a safety, a line. He literally tackled a guy. He didn't like the hit the guy gave him, so he did a form tackle on him in the middle of the field. He's been in multiple altercations, which I'll let you know in a couple months whether that's the story of he brought physicality and an edge to the Chiefs or he just never fit in with the Chiefs and they hate him kind of thing. But Seattle has lost talent since the Super Bowl, whereas the Patriots are a more talented team, right? That's not even up for debate.
Oh, they've gotten better.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, significantly better, but they've taken some steps forward for sure.
Wide receiver, you added A.J. Brown and Romeo Dobbs there at that position. Better on the offensive line. With Lomu and Vera Tucker.
The defense is a little... I don't think the front seven was added to in the way, but maybe Akis is better than we think.
Oh, have you noticed? People are falling in love with him.
I called him Willie McGinnis yesterday by accident. You talk about a take you immediately as it comes out. You're like, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, that could come back to bite you a little bit.
Yeah, we'll delete that.
You could be a little bit...
Don't clip that one.
Over the top there. Let's go back to the phone lines. Mike has a thought on Drake May. What's up, Mike?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I think Drake May is properly rated. I think... he started last season slow, but the continuity, we got Josh McDaniels, another year in the system. But no, I mean, they were blowing out teams. I think you guys talked about 40 touchdowns, totally going to happen. We were just running the ball. We were sitting on the ball because we were blowing teams out. So I think they'll be fine. I think he's properly rated.
Thanks for the call, Mike. Talking about his prediction here of touchdowns. I've been talking cautionary tales about C.J. Stroud or Daniels or one of those guys. If you go back in the day, remember Tom Brady's follow-up season? Interestingly, in 2002,
led the league with 28 touchdown passes,
which is a very interesting...
I want to watch a documentary on
was a different time.
But it really wasn't, because if you look, I've thought that too, but like, people were throwing way more touchdowns. Like, I want a documentary on how Tom Brady led the NFL in touchdown passes in 2002 with 28 touchdowns.
He did.
That's
and
half
they
a
missed
season
the playoffs. Now. They were the in and out Patriots, out and in Patriots, because the Jets snuck in late in the year. But I want to talk about that next. So what are you looking for from Drake May statistically, win-wise? How do we measure this season? Like, are we looking for Drake May to be an MVP candidate, but they don't win as many games, or win the same amount of games, but Drake May doesn't have quite the statistics again, isn't quite the talk of the town again? Drake May, what are you looking for from your quarterback this season to prove that he truly belongs in the top 5 to 8 quarterbacks in the National Football League? Your phone call, 617-779-0985, Hart and Hurley on a Sunday afternoon.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
If you're using chat to research...
Hurley during the break was showing me that the new Highmark Stadium indeed has some questionable seats. But being the cheap guy that I am, I immediately asked, can I get the seat at a discount? Because if you sell me what's normally a $130 seat for like $20,
you want to be part of it. You want to be part of the.
Yeah.
You want to boo if someone doesn't hustle,
and hope they're in my view when said incident happens.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know if you're familiar with corporate greed. It's running rampant.
Yeah, I am. Things are expensive.
Bad vibes from the Bills. I think you got the goofball coach, who I don't believe in. You've got the ugliest uniforms perhaps in NFL history. And you've got the stadium open, and I don't know if it's just my feed, but it's just Bills fans complaining that the new stadium. You see the scoreboards?
No.
Tiny video boards.
Oh.
Teeny, tiny little video boards.
Not this day and age.
You go to Gillette, you're like, oh my God, that is the biggest board I've ever seen. Even the smaller board is huge.
Can't do that.
Tiny little video boards in Buffalo.
That is more inexcusable than... Because I can see how you design a stadium, and even for an architect, like you put this here, and you kind of lose the actual sight line that is going to take place in the real world. But you know how big a scoreboard is, and if you did any research, you know what Gillette has. You know what...
Dallas is that was Dallas' whole thing. Atlanta has a sick thing.
And Atlanta's baseball, I'll ask the resident Braves fan, Ryan Garvin. I believe the new Atlanta baseball has a massive video board in center field.
It's a big thing. Even Wrigley, I mentioned. Wrigley has a video board, multiple video boards now.
Drive down an average street at night and notice that every person in America has like at minimum a 55 or 60-inch TV.
These are you can see them. They're not.
Yeah, that's not good.
Impressive.
And how do you fix that?
Even like Miami, an older stadium, they put those ones in the corner. So this is an important part of the NFL experience.
How do you fix that? You can't. That's a fireable mistake.
Bad vibes in Buffalo.
Because you can't just immediately put new, and I don't know, it's also poorly designed, like you can't go higher because of the seats that are involved.
Ceiling. There's a ceiling on one side, and then the other one's in the seats.
Wow,
I guess you could go higher and get rid of some seats, then you're losing money.
This is really poorly designed. I think the obstructed views is nitpicking. This is not nitpicking.
Yeah,
this is a big deal.
It's like Michael Scott watching the TV in his living room. You know, I love this TV. It's a 13-incher on the side.
And isn't this a $2 billion stadium? I believe.
I don't even know. I don't know what that kind of money. Once it reaches a certain amount, I don't know what they're talking about.
I don't think $2 billion goes as far as it used to, because when Dallas built a $2 billion stadium, it was almost universally awed. Like Jerry's their board, remember, it like stretched the whole field.
Punts were hitting it.
That was their biggest issue, that it was too big.
Yeah.
It was too big. It was actually taking up space in the playing arena. Wow, Buffalo.
You know what?
And you know what also? Just to throw it out there, I kind of liked the old stadium.
Yeah, it was the only one left from a different era, and it would just fit Buffalo so much better.
Set down into the ground and like a kind of homey bowl feel.
Metal benches, they were throwing certain rubber objects on the field. Like there was it matched Buffalo perfectly. I don't think this corporate shiny, whatever you want to call it, I don't think it fits their fan base. I don't fits their city. It just feels out of place.
Doesn't even. A lot of people in the room. You need more space. Voila, right into the wall.
617-779-0985. Let's go back to your phone call. We'll take phone calls if you want to bitch about obstructed views. Or do they still have those at Fenway? Do they still sell behind the poles?
Pal, I went to a game by myself, brag, a couple years ago, and I bought a ticket on the way in.
Brag?
And I went in, and
sad.
I sit down, and I'm in the grandstand in left field, and the beam is literally blocking home plate, the batter, and the catcher. But
you could see the pitcher.
You could see the pitcher, but I bought it on a third party or secondary market app, and I said, hey, listen, this is the seat. And they're like, this was not marked as obstructed, but we are giving you your money back. So that was the Red Sox not listing that as obstructed somehow.
So you got it for free.
I did.
Okay.
And so and then I moved. But the point is, does Fenway still? Yeah, Fenway still does, and not all of them are marked obstructed.
Oh,
so
see, that ain't cool. Mm-mm. That's like a bait and switch or something, or false advertising.
You know what you're getting into, but even I, growing up here, going to games my whole life, was like, this is outrageous.
Also, I'd like to point out that Fenway was built over 100 years ago, so I could certainly understand both structurally and design-wise how a pole could be in the way. Totally get it.
Fenway was built decades before anyone had conceived of a computer.
Right. AI?
3D renderings.
The average height of a human could be taller than 5'4".
Yeah. Now you have a stadium that I'm pretty sure was over $2 billion in an era where we're supposed to have the technology to pretty much know it. Hell, most of these websites, you can go on it and say, show me the view from the seat, and it'll show you the view from the seat. So you probably should know what the view from the seat is if you're one of these architects building a football stadium.
Bad vibes.
And probably put larger than regular TVs in that you bought at BJ's.
You know what could add to the negative vibes? Patriots visited week 4, right?
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Maybe you come away with the win. Maybe it's not as daunting as a place to play. Anyway, it happened to the Yankees. The Yankees had one of the hardest places to play, and then they put all the luxury seats down low, and they put all the real fans up top, and they ruined their home field advantage.
That's true. That would be a boon for them. Put you over the top, balance things out if you're worried about Josh Allen.
Do you remember, you must have made some trips to Buffalo in your career, right? How loud it would get there. Like, I remember the Patriots blew a lead there in like 2012-ish, 2011, and it was just one of the loudest experiences you could imagine. I don't know that they're going to have that anymore. A lot of corporate crowd in there.
Bills missed their window. Going down.
Very possible.
Bad coach, aging quarterback, bad stadium, wasted $2 billion, small TVs. What do they have in Buffalo other than Buffalo wings? Nothing. 617-779-0985. Back to the phone lines. George in Malden has a thought on quarterback play in the NFL. What's up, George?
Out of all the top-tier quarterbacks you have just talked about all morning long, at the end of their careers, which one will have the most Super Bowl wins? Plus, I'm going to say this. Tom Brady did the impossible. He beat Mahomes twice, once in Kansas City and once in the Super Bowl. That was phenomenal.
Thanks for the call, George.
I think
we'll end on that.
Well, if I may, I do think that's one of the cooler things about Tom Brady's career. Like, he was an old man and has those 2 wins against Mahomes late in his career. Like, I think that's such a lasting imprint where people wanted to call Mahomes the GOAT after 2 years?
Yeah, and he would be if he won those 2 games.
Yeah.
That literally prevented Patrick Mahomes from being the greatest of all time.
Yeah, Brady did that to a lot of people. How many Super Bowls would Manning or Roethlisberger have had?
Those could have been, would have been, should have been, didn't because of Brady.
Yeah.
But I literally think if Mahomes wins those 2 games, there's a good chance we're talking about him as the greatest quarterback of all time.
He'd have 5 already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And Brady would have 5 in a much longer period of time.
And he would have had the head-to-heads.
Yeah. And the head-to-head those games prevented him, and now he's just chasing, and he's not going to get to the number where you can say, because I don't even know, say he gets to 7. Okay, he got to 7.
He didn't beat him.
But twice he
kind of
beat you.
need 8.
Right. You need at least 8 or 9 to make up for the head-to-head difference.
Yeah, Brady was, we don't need to do Tom Brady hour, but I always think back. Remember, he won 4, and he comes out at Gillette with the 5 shirt. At Fenway Park, wearing the 5 shirt. And then, remember Edelman sharing the story, be like, I'm not chasing Montana, I'm chasing Jordan. Right. And then he got 7.
Right.
I don't think we'll ever see that again.
Real ballsy, he should have said, I'm not chasing Montana, chasing Russell. That would have been really ballsy.
That's tough.
But,
double digits.
Yeah, probably.
But
set reasonable goals.
The question being, it's really hard to predict. Our New England views are so skewed on Super Bowl wins.
Yeah,
because generally, like Matthew Stafford has a Super Bowl. That's like a champion exclamation point on the top of a good career.
He might have another one this year. I kind of think the Rams might be the team to beat, especially if Darnold wants to join forces with, Donald. I keep saying Darnold, and I like Murph. It's like NFC West is one word.
That's like
a quarterback or a pass rusher. Darnold.
Elijah Vera Tucker can sneak in. It's a New England thing.
Yeah, it does sneak in every once in a while. But if Donald joins Myles Garrett, that team is pretty loaded.
Terrifying.
That team is pretty damn good if he stays healthy at his age, and also pretty good coach.
But yeah, I think if you're plotting out like Super Bowls, if any one of those young quarterbacks, Daniels, Williams, May, wins a Super Bowl, like that's great.
Oh, absolutely.
A Super Bowl.
But George's question, so of all the quarterbacks that we've talked about, when all is said and done, who's going to be the best? Isn't it Mahomes?
Well, let's exclude him because he's already won. But you've got...
It's fun if you exclude him.
Yeah, because no one... Allen doesn't have one. Burrow doesn't have one. Jackson doesn't have one. So those are sort of your establishment.
Drake May doesn't have one.
Right, and that's the younger group. They don't have one. So, I don't know. I think you'd take one. Like you can't shoot for 3 at this point. Like, that's unrealistic.
Well, it's like that whole discussion. The one changes the narrative, but only into a certain grouping. It's the second one that puts you over the top, which is why it'd be huge for Stafford, whose career would change so dramatically. Couldn't win in Detroit. Great arm, number one pick, everything, didn't whatever, and then gets the back end 2 Super Bowls that probably changes the whole narrative of his entire playing career.
And just look at who he was traded for with Jared Goff, who has sort of the reverse career,
Right.
Started with the Rams, went to Detroit, it's been lighting it up, but for what? That winning does make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And it would have made a huge difference for Drake May if he steals one.
Or what if Goff had beaten the Patriots back in 2018?
Then I wouldn't think of him as the softest quarterback in the history of the world, because the flyby sack that Kyle Van Noy had when Jared Goff just fell to his knees forever ruined me. Jared Goff could go win 6 Super Bowls, and I'll think of him as a soft pansy who Kyle Van Noy scared into falling to his knees for a sack.
Do you know what was worse was when the NFL film stuff came out? They had gotten, remember the play, obviously Jason McCourty flies across the field to break up the pass to Brandon Cooks. That they literally got that look earlier. They go to the sidelines. They say, if you get it again, you will have Cooks on the post. Cooks was Goff's 4th read on that play. He looked to the flat, to the running back, before going to the guy that was wide open, and they knew he was going to be open, and they called timeout before that play, and Goff still didn't have the brain to look for him.
And a lot of people get mad at me. I don't think that was as great a defensive play as it was a horrific quarterback play.
4th read.
And
they knew
you're the reason that play that got broken up, not really the great play by the defense.
You love that play, the effort and everything.
Absolutely.
But
if it's executed by the quarterback, he can't get there.
Unbelievable.
I've always, and I love Jason McCourty, and I love the McCourtys, and I don't want to go all in crapping all over the play as the most overrated play in the history, but it's kind of a really overrated play.
Well,
because it's Goff just sucking.
It's sort of like Gonzalez's pass breakup against Smith and Jigba in the end zone in the Super Bowl, where it's great recovery. You really appreciate that, but you did get beat.
Right.
But that's sports.
That is sports, and we are results-oriented, and, if my aunt, blah, 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 that's a whole different scenario.
And one more name to throw in the pile there. I'll tell you, Justin Herbert, he's going to finish with 0 Super Bowls, however else anyone else breaks out.
Right now feels like a solid prediction.
Hopping off the train.
Feels like a solid prediction. 617-779-0985. Hart and Hurley on a Sunday afternoon here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Andy Hart here alongside Michael Hurley, having a fun, fast Sunday here in Sports Talk Radio in Boston. We haven't even gotten to any of the, I've done some weekend shows in the past where things are a little slow and you throw out low-hanging fruit. And we have low-hanging fruit at our disposal that we have not even attempted to grasp at yet.
I'm not above it.
Okay. You're not above the low-hanging fruit because, we have Adam Vinatieri, who created an uproar, and based on my Twitter responses, has definitely ticked off a lot of Patriots fans. I said to you yesterday I wasn't sure how this would resonate because I don't know in New England anymore. Brady is not as popular as he was because people are like, Wait, you're going to fight somebody at WrestleMania? I don't know if I like post-playing Tom Brady. Bill Belichick is... Well, there's a lot there. There's a lot with Bill Belichick that has made people question their allegiance. You told me you were laughing at him.
I couldn't look away.
Okay.
Couldn't look away. But again, we did do some therapy work there, and we pinned it more on Lombardi, which is just an extension of Bill. So
Right.
it's not. It's like kind of a cop-out.
And then yesterday, Ryan Garvin, we had Adam Vinatieri, the pinnacle of his football career, being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You get a speech, and you can do whatever you want with that time. And he chose to go, well, the roast angle.
Bill couldn't make it here today. There's a lot going on at UNC right now. He may be on a recruiting trip right now looking for the next Lawrence Taylor. I thought it was because training camp had already started. But in truth, it's because he's judging his girlfriend's cheerleading competition. All jokes aside, in my opinion, Bill is the greatest coach of all time. And Peyton, thank you for generously donating your forehead for today's teleprompter. I was lucky enough to play with the greatest quarterback in Patriot history. Unfortunately, he was unable to make it here today. Drew Bledsoe. I had a few more Tom Brady jokes, but I was afraid that he'd run up on the stage and maybe give me a Will Smith like he did to Logan Paul last month.
So this has been all over my timeline.
Yeah.
Because I think that guy, ML Football, tags me in everything he posts.
Really?
That is. And so I get way more.
That's not a human being, I don't think.
Well, then the AI bot tags me, and I have to, exit the conversation.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah, it's weird. But so I've gotten a lot of replies, and one of them from TEJEN25, in case you want to look it up.
I'm familiar with his work.
Yeah, has a Notre Dame logo as his avatar. He came off like a complete a-hole. This isn't a Friars Club roast. It's the NFL Hall of Fame. See Larry Fitzgerald's speech for how to be done. Adam Vinatieri is the friend who thinks he is hilarious that everyone can't stand. Greatest kicker of all time. You could argue jump-started the dynasty, created the dynasty with the kick in the snow against the Raiders, and then obviously the kick in the Super Bowl game winner. Back when 48-yarders were impressive. Now they're kind of run-of-the-mill.
Now that's like a extra point.
Kinda. But I think I was a little surprised to see, and I think it was way more negative than I expected, the reactions yesterday, ripping on Adam Vinatieri for his
it's
roast.
It's not a roast, you know? And
have others done this? Has this been common over the years? Because I don't know that I watch all of these, because you always see the highlights of the tearjerker ones, or you talk about thanking every coach that ever helped me get to this position or whatever. I don't know that I remember a lot of guys that chose the roast route in their Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah, and no, it's not really the spot for that. They play that music. I was watching it at home, and my daughter said, "Did someone die?" Because of the type of music that was being played. It's like that triumphant sort of, nah, nah. It's over dramatic. And I said, "No, he's being inducted into the Hall of Fame." And she's like, "Well, it sounds like someone's dying or something like that." So it was very odd, but he took some shots. I would say, you go, was it, I don't even know which Paul, but Logan Paul, Chris Paul, whichever, not Chris Paul.
That's Chris Paul.
No, Logan Paul, or his brother, whichever one of the Paul brothers. That's a topical reference. I will say, pulling a Will Smith, you're reaching a little far back into the pop culture zeitgeist. That was how many years ago now?
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Not really on everyone's forefront of everyone's mind. So hit and miss. But yeah, it's weird, but also I think it speaks to people laughing at Bill Belichick these days.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm sure it came up in conversations that week. He lived a great life, Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah, this is serious music.
It's the end of a movie when the father and son reunite after years apart.
It's like, I just flew in from Chicago. Boy, my arm's killing me.
Yeah, Adam's like, that was serious music, but on a lighter side, let's take some shots at Bill Belichick, the guy who ran me out of New England. And I do think there's still a hint of that. This wasn't just opportunistic, Bill's been made fun of the last couple of years, I'm going to pile on. If he hadn't had the sort of harsh ending to his time in Foxborough, I don't think this is being done. Mm-hmm. He did not reference Robert Kraft, did he?
He did. He said, I think he might have made a joke. I don't remember. But then he said Kraft should belong up on the stage as a Hall of Famer soon.
Okay.
So he did say that. He did say Belichick was the greatest. I don't know. I mean, he took a shot. He had people chuckling. He made an inappropriate joke about Pat McAfee and his job holding the football.
I saw that.
So he went up there for chuckles. And I guess I just find it, actually, the more I think about it, if you're a kicker being inducted into the Hall of Fame, just go for it, No one's going to be like, that guy's a real macho man. So you might as well just go to be the funny guy.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I don't remember. I love and loved Adam Vinatieri when he was here as a kicker. I've spoken with him for various stories, interviews, different things since then. I am a big Adam Vinatieri fan. He was never like the yuckster. He was never like the big jokester. Like this isn't, it's one thing, like there's certain guys you might be like, yeah, I bet you he's going to have some jokes on his Hall of Fame speech or just whatever speech he gives. I didn't see this coming with Adam Vinatieri, and I'm not sure I would have done it. I'm not sure I would have advised him had I been his wife, his agent, his whoever, when he's like, you know what I'm going to do? A lot of jokes. Take some shots at the Patriots, Brady, Bill. I'd be like, hey, what was the other idea? So that's a good idea, but what are the other options on the table? And I think I would have pushed him into the other options side.
Especially because, I don't know what the order was. I know Fitzgerald went first, then Vinatieri. Like, if Luke Kuechly went next, who was a great player, who had his career cut very short due to concussions and obviously went through a lot of emotions with football being taken from him, I'm sure this was sort of a culmination of a lifetime in football. And to follow the Seinfeld routine was probably like, really?
Yeah, Fitzgerald went first, Vinatieri, and then Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, and then 2 people later, Roger Craig tells everyone he has dementia.
Right.
So it's not really that, but I mean, probably not worth throwing a fit about. I find it fascinating. Dial back the clock 5 years. Let's say Adam Vinatieri is inducted then because he played forever. Let's say he's inducted 5 years ago. There's no Bill Belichick jokes about his girlfriend.
Right.
Like maybe there's something about getting franchise tagged or having to leave because Bill wouldn't pay him, et cetera, et cetera. But there's no, you said that is low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
To make the Jordan Hudson joke.
Like if he follows Kuechly, if he follows Roger Craig, does all that still end up in his speech?
He's just throwing his cards out.
You gotta hope somebody's like, oh, hold on, give me this. Okay, now you can go.
Throw all that out.
Throwing out the Will Smith joke.
Yeah, and even the Roger Craig stuff. Luke Kuechly had his career ended. I mean, we all have that image of him on the back of the golf cart bawling
Weeping.
his eyes
right.
out. One of probably the most dramatic images of post-concussion reaction results that we've ever seen. So, the football world, there is some truth to, I saw a cut of Taylor Swift, and she was talking about how Jay-Z asks her all the time, would you do the halftime? And she's like, I'm kind of invested in the NFL. And she's like, my fiance is putting his life on the line, and I'm watching that all the time. Like, I don't just want to show up and be like, what song should I sing,
it's not
honey?
Like time for a song and dance. Don't you think Giselle kind of had a lot of that towards the end, too, where she was obviously very concerned about Tom Brady's concussions?
Yes.
And then it's like, all right, yeah, I'm just supposed to be like a doting wife and mother while you're going out there getting your brains
right.
beaten
Like,
in.
football is 100% injury rate. And if you make it to your speech with your capacities, like, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of a serious world. So, again, big Adam Vinatieri fan, and I don't think this makes him the biggest a-hole on the planet. I just think it's one of those, like, wouldn't have done that.
It was just odd.
Just a questionable choice.
I know, Garvin, you love the advanced stats. I got some advanced speech stats for you.
Oh, let me hear them.
Length of speech, okay? Yeah. Larry Fitzgerald, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Adam Vinatieri, 12 seconds under the 20-minute mark. So he took up a nice 20.
A little more time. If you had cut the jokes out, you would have been a little lower.
Kuechly was 15 minutes. Roger Craig just 11 minutes, and then the longest one, which makes sense, Drew Brees 27 minutes. So you had one of the best quarterbacks of all time, then the kicker, and then everyone else. So
wow.
he soaked it up. He's a worthy Hall of Famer, which
100%.
We'll never say about a kicker again.
It's a year late. He should have gone in last year.
Yeah.
I think he got screwed. I think it's a year late, 100%.
Yeah.
All that being said, don't do jokes.
Yeah, it didn't bother me that he took that much time.
Guys, Peyton Manning has a giant forehead.
Yeah, that was just weird. It was like he started with the idea, I have to make a joke about each one of these people, and then worked backwards from it to fill in the details of each
but
joke.
Seriously, folks, Peyton Manning, he could really sling the rock. Anyways, who's next? Who's my next victim?
617-779-0985. Let's squeeze in a phone call before we get to the break here. Adam in New York City has a thought on Drake May. What's up, Adam?
Guys, I am super excited about an element of Drake May's game that I feel like is getting kind of overlooked. So, like, we all know they have this upgraded offense, and they're going to give defenses a ton to worry about, right? And I think now everyone's forgetting Drake May's ability to run for 10 yards and cut loose and do damage like that, and it's going to be sick.
Thanks for the call, Adam. Let's get to this on the other side. I do want to touch on this. How much you want Drake May running this year? I'll give you can check your numbers. I know you like to have an informed opinion because sometimes the numbers don't match your opinion. You want to make sure those jive. But how much do we want Drake May running this year? Putting himself at risk, because I don't know if you heard, there was kind of an injury issue late in the year that may have affected his ability to perform at the highest level in the biggest games, and it's something we talk about with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and all these other guys. How much do you want to utilize Drake May as a runner? Your phone call, 617-779-0985. Hart and Hurley on a Sunday.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Art. Michael Hurley, fresh off his award-winning hourly read. You nailed the hell out of it.
No comment.
So I said before the break, Drake May is, I'm sure you have numbers. There were numbers that said he was the best rushing quarterback in football last year, right?
Oh, really?
Best running quarterback.
I mean, he was good.
I think best scrambling maybe or whatever. There were numbers that people would sort of put him out there as the best runner in the NFL.
He's deceptively fast, that's sure. I think people see him and they're like, oh, that white boy's not. Oh, there he goes.
Kinda.
Yep.
Kinda. I mean, he ended, was that 2 years ago? He ended Matthew Judon's career by looking back at him as he ran away from him.
Mm-hmm.
Basically was like, yeah, you might want to hang it up here.
And he sent Christian Ellis's brother into the shadow realm last year. Put the Patriots into the Super Bowl?
Certainly was an aspect of his game. Rushing touchdowns, extending plays, things of that nature. And I feel like this is the great debate that teams have. Everybody wants a quarterback that can extend plays and run, and then they get him, and they either are on the cusp of paying a ridiculous amount of money or are paying him a ridiculous amount of money, and they're like, you know what? Let's dial that back a little bit. We don't want you putting yourself in harm's way. Where are we in the evolution of Drake May as an athletic quarterback? Is that still a key component in his game, or do you start to say, you know what, Drake? Let's be smart. You're a good passer, 70% passer. We got you some weapons. We got you a better offensive line. Do we want to slowly eliminate the running aspect?
I would say last year around this time, it was very evident that both Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels and probably everyone else employed by the Patriots was like, hey, don't run.
Right.
Last resort, run. Don't run. Don't run. They didn't want you. And he did at times take care of himself. There were times, obviously, he got a concussion as a rookie sliding.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a very good slider. I would say focus on getting down and flat rather than sitting up. But
yep.
So he ran last time 103 times, 450 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think production-wise, like, I think that's good enough. If you get about 500 rushing yards from him,
yeah.
That's division. I should have done the division. 500 divided by 17 comes out to
not an easy, obvious answer.
No, but I did go to high school.
Too bad it wasn't 15.
500 divided by 17, it's 29 yards a game. That's nothing.
That's
literally
nothing.
So I think you're okay with that. 4 touchdowns. They did obviously punt on what would have been a 5th in Tennessee. Remember, before halftime they faked a QB sneak, so they almost blew that one. Was that Tennessee or was that somewhere else?
I feel like it was somewhere else.
Yeah. It was Tampa.
Okay.
They almost screwed that one. So he probably should be, but that's circumstantial. They were a bad red zone team, so you'd like to see him maybe find the end zone a little bit more, run to the pylon, beat some guys. But don't you feel comfortable like 100 carries for 500 yards is like not overuse, not over risk, but using one of his elite talents?
Yes, and I think this is a really gray area. Like, it's really hard to say when to. That's why he's an athlete, right? It's why he's a competitor. But you need him to be smart. I always thought, in my personal opinion, the measuring stick for this was Russell Wilson. When he was at his best, he would run, but never take a big hit.
Always do that football, the sideline, reach out, get an extra yard.
Slide a second early as opposed to a second too late. And you're like, you probably could have got 3 more yards. Oh, yeah, I probably could have, and I probably could have gotten killed.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I want Drake May to be. Have it in the bag, have it in the toolbox, but don't overuse it. And he's still young. He's still cocky. I don't know if you ever heard the clip when I asked him about when he was a lead blocker, worrying about people knocking his head out. He's like, I'm 6'4", 225. I'm a little harder to knock my block off than you think it is.
Yeah.
No, get rid of that mentality.
Mm-hmm. This is the national football.
Right.
This is not the ACC.
The Jackson Dart mentality. And it was at Gillette where it was most on display. And he's like, I'm not going to change. Why don't you go watch my high school games? I've been playing the same way. And it's like, well, you're not in high school anymore.
Yeah. Was that Ellis that lit him up on the sideline?
Yes. And it's like,
not exactly Bill Romanowski, you know?
I don't want that mentality in him at all. Like, be a gamer with your arm. Be a gamer with your attitude. Don't be a gamer with your body.
Yeah.
Until you're John Elway. Remember the helicopter one? If you want a helicopter in the Super Bowl, helicopter your ass off. Go for it. Have fun with it. If I see you helicopter in Seattle in week 1, we're going to be a coach wants to see you. We're going to have a discussion.
And he even said it like this is like they say saying the quiet part out loud. Remember in training camp or preseason last year, he was like, I learned you got to get up faster or else the concussion spotter will take you out.
Right.
And he got away with it once early in the year. Remember, he got hit pretty hard.
Yep.
I don't remember exactly the scenario, but he wasn't taken out. And then in Tennessee, he got hit, had to leave. Remember, Dobbs came in.
Yep.
Made a really nice pass to Hollins.
Really nice pass.
Like, it was like a 3rd and 7.
Third down play. Absolutely.
Like, where did that come from? Anyways, but then he was able to trot back onto the field and help win the game. You almost... that there has to sort of be a zero tolerance for that possibility, which is hard to say because the game moves fast.
Right.
And you want him to be aggressive. You want him to use his legs to his advantage, but there's just way too much at risk when you get hit by a linebacker or a safety who's trying to take your head off.
Because if you remember, that was part of the story in the loss to the Raiders, at least for me personally. I thought he was thinking. I thought he had like what they told me to do, what not to do. Don't put yourself at risk. Don't do this. Don't do that. Rather than what he can do. And we know he can do great things. We know he can, the rollout throw to Diggs. Like I can roll right and drop it in a dime.
The one in Buffalo?
Yes.
I'd watch that right now, after the Rushman clip.
Right. Everybody would. It was probably one of the most watched clips in the NFL last year, would be my guess, on social media. And he's capable of that. Pick your spots, right? Like that's that maturing process that I think you have to go. Because unlike Lamar, who I'm not sure what he is without running, I think Drake May can stand in the pocket and be a good, very good, great, not sure exactly yet, NFL quarterback. Like he's capable of beating you just with his arm and his brain and his decision making and standing in the pocket. He doesn't. The other stuff is like the bonus that puts you over the top, that makes you elite, makes you great. Also, what can put us over the top as a team in important games and situations. Don't necessarily want you doing it all the time because we all know, no disrespect to 2 Chainz DeVito, or apparently whatever Vrabel is now calling him, 2 Chainz. I don't want to see him play, and you won't win with him playing.
That's right. Yeah, it's just there's just too much on the line there, and I don't know how many teams can withstand losing their quarterback.
None.
It might be 2 or 3.
Name the 2 or 3.
I don't know. Flacco's a backup somewhere. He can win you some games, but it's obviously like there's a reason. Like there are not 32 starting caliber quarterbacks in the world.
Right.
So you're just risking it, and it came back to bite you last year. I don't think it was because he was running. It was because he was getting mauled in the pocket. But the point is, physically, he was unable to finish and be the player that he was when he was an MVP candidate.
And I think that's probably also part of the coaching, and the argument for this year is your line's going to be better. So don't assume you need to be ready to get the hell out of there. Like, trust Will Campbell, trust Morgan Moses, trust Elijah Vera Tucker, trust the line.
Maybe Travion can learn a little bit about blitz
Maybe
pickup.
Travion, who multiple times in his press conference last week said, knowing what I'm doing is big this year. I was like, tell me you didn't know what you were doing last year? Is that the implication of your statement, that you know now what to do?
You know what? As a rookie, you don't know what you don't know. And now in year 2, you do know what you
know
don't
what
know.
you didn't know.
Yes.
You probably should have told Drake a little bit of that every once in a while. Hey, just so you know, no idea what I'm doing on this play. So those feet you got, have those ready to Fred Flintstone out of here, just in case. 617-779-0985. Boston Red Sox will be at Fenway Park about a half hour from now. Mea culpa, is it necessary from the crowd? We'll talk about the booing at Fenway Park. Yes, the booing at Fenway Park for a baseball team that is the best in Major League Baseball over the last 70-plus games. That's up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, just after Hurley's headlines.
From the town fair.
Scriptor for the A's. I feel like you really hit your prime stride there.
I appreciate that. I put a lot of thought, and it's tough when you do it all day and no new news happens.
Yeah, it does get a little repetitive, and you try to find new ways to say the same thing and kind of flip the order a little bit sometimes.
At least on the weekend, it's hourly. When it's a Friday morning, every half hour, you're like, I need some new stuff, guys.
You really got to buff that up a little bit. Maybe you should start telling jokes, roast people. Adam Vinatieri chose that route. Maybe you try that. You're excited about this game over at Fenway Park, right? You seem to have a pitcher you're excited about, mostly based on his measurables.
I think Boston can really fall in love with this Eric Miller fella. He just looks like a guy, if you walked into a bar and was sitting there, you'd be like, I want to talk to that guy.
So you just said he's
6'5", 279.
Yeah, that's a large guy. Eric with a K, by the way, just in case anyone's wondering.
Which, honestly, it's a demerit. No offense to those with the K.
Oh, you don't like that?
I'm a C guy. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to the name Eric. But where would he rank on the Patriots in terms of weight?
He's up there. They've been working out guards. They're looking for some guard depth. I feel like if he wanted to, he's a couple good solid meals and a protein shake away from being a guard.
Unfortunately, there's no one in there's a gap in weight. Draymond Jones is 268, and then you go Milton Williams 290. So there's no one in that in between. So he'd be a tweener.
He'd bulk up.
Could be a tight end.
Yeah.
Too heavy.
I'll watch today to see how athletic he looks.
Tanner Arkin, 6'4", 262. He's the blocking tight end.
Yeah, I bet you he's a little more athletic.
Yeah, Miller.
A little shot at baseball players. Sometimes
pitchers.
Non-athletes can kind of be very successful and make their way up the ladder.
Maybe, we're doing nitty-gritty analysis here. Maybe if you're the top of that A's lineup and you got this big, maybe you lay down a bunt in the first inning.
We're bunting.
Let's see if we can get this guy off the mound.
I mean, what else? What do they have to lose?
I forget who tweeted it. I think it was Tom Caron actually tweeted that as a opener, this fella, Eric Miller, has a 0.84 career ERA.
Oh.
So I think you got to attack that if you're the A's.
But the topic last night, other than the fact that the Red Sox lost, which is
Crazy.
newsworthy, they did lose. But their best hitter this season, or one of their best hitters this season, Wilson Contreras, was booed in the 8th inning for not running out a ground ball as they attempted a comeback. They were down, I believe, 7-2 at the time.
It was 6-2 in the 8th.
Okay, 6-2 in the 8th, and didn't run out a ground ball. And then subsequently, we found out Chad Tracy said, yeah, he's not really 100%. He's dealing with some stuff. We've tied that together, and I did want to go a little different way here.
Okay.
We've tied that potentially into the ball that hit him in the head very violently.
That was Saturday or Sunday?
That was Saturday.
I can double check
Sunday.
that. You know, I like to check things, but I also like to throw things out that neither of us know.
Yeah, that's always good to expect detail when detail is not known. But he could have something else, right? Like, we're kind of assuming it could be related to the concussion, post-concussion, how he's feeling. You know, I joked maybe he had a bad salad. That's been a thing. Illness could be related to something. But we know he's not 100%. And we know we've had very little reason to question him this year.
It was Sunday, by the way. So
Sunday, less than a week earlier, he was hit in the head by a major league pitch.
Clonked him.
I advised you not to get hit in the old-time baseball game with Steve Buckley.
If I can add to the OBP, I'm gonna do whatever I can.
Easiest way to get on base, wear it, baby.
I'm just gonna have a lot of pads.
Yeah.
With goalie equipment. Anyway,
doesn't always work. Learn from Meade. He had a pad.
That's true.
Missed the pad.
He had numerous pads.
And the bullet still did not dodge him. It went right into him. But he hasn't really given you any reason to question him.
Nope.
And yet, very swiftly and at a high level, you had booing from the Fenway
Can we play
faithful.
the audio again, just in case anyone missed it? It was shocking how instant and uniform it was. I don't know if we have the audio.
The audio. Can we hear the booing again in a second? We can change that.
It was remarkable.
Yeah, it was. Yes, if it wasn't misguided and misplaced and mistimed and any misword that I can use, it would be awesome. It'd be something we'd be saying, this is why Boston is special, because Boston can do this. Boston is paying attention at a level in which they don't need a big board to tell them to make noise or tell them the situation.
It was old school. It was from my childhood.
It was.
Just the wrong time for it. The wrong place.
Also
the wrong person.
makes us seem spoiled and negative and always looking for the negative in a situation. And entitled town is something that's thrown around here. So let's just hear the audio. Contreras, ground ball to third. He doesn't hustle. And listen to what happens.
Third, White up with it. And one gone. And the crowd booing him a little bit there. One man away.
Almost just frustrating day. Just rolled this thing over and just dropped the bat, and didn't give much of an effort down there. And the fans, even though this team's on a hot streak.
You know what usually incites that type of a boo? Your power hitter is up and a pitch goes up and in. That's that same sort of everybody react.
Yeah.
Oh, you boo! You threw at my guy.
Or a pitcher throws over to first, and the home crowd's like, "No!"
Right, something.
Or like a security guy grabs the beach ball and stabs it and pops it, and everyone's like, "No, we were playing with that."
But this was a ground ball to third by your best hitter, who just came back from missing time to illness and/or concussion or both, and you all chose that. Oh, I forgot. You're also in the midst of a 9-game winning streak. So it's not like you're in the midst of a 9-game losing streak and see, this is the crap. This is why you guys lose baseball games. It's stuff just like, nope.
Right.
Can't say any of that. So therefore, you and I have come up with a solution to fix this mini problem situation. And that would be?
It's going to be about 40 minutes from now. He's going to have his first at bat. I think you got to rise. As Don Ursillo used to say, Fenway rises as one. And you give him a big cheer when he walks in. You give him a cheer when he walks out of the dugout on the on-deck circle. And then when they say now batting, number, 40?
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Again, another detail you could have left out.
Probably could have checked that. Now batting, number 40, nailed it.
Well
Wilson
done.
Contreras. And then you just got to give him a standing ovation. You got to say, you know what? Yesterday, we were a little moody. We were a little cranky.
Hot.
Sun. We had our blood sugar was off. our bad. We like you. We like everything you've brought to this team. We screwed up. And I think that would go a long way because it doesn't look good to boo arguably your best player.
And you did describe this earlier, us calling for this cheer as... How did you describe it?
Corny.
Corny.
Hokey.
Yeah.
This isn't very sports
No.
media of us, but
I don't think Felger would like this.
It just felt like misplaced, whatever you want to call it. Anger, disgust. Like
this feels like perfect.
How are you disgusted with Wilson Contreras?
You snap at a child, or you say something to your wife, and later you're like, "I'm sorry, that wasn't you. I had traffic was bad, and this and that, and like there was like you have to explain yourself and get yourself out of the situation. They can't explain themselves to Wilson Contreras. The best they have is their audible reaction to the plate today, and make it the exact opposite of what you did to him yesterday in the 8th.
Yeah, because again, if this was May, this would have just been another awful moment in an awful season, and it wouldn't even register. But the fact that it came, whether it's the 9-game winning streak, whether it's they were 33-5 in their previous 38, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you can't really. It's kind of like crossing your arms, stomping your feet, like a spoiled brat.
I'll also be interested. He did not speak with the media yesterday after the game. I'm assuming he might today, and I'm guessing he'll be asked about it, even though it's a full 24 hours later. I'll be interested to see what he says about it. I'm guessing he'll handle it the right way because he's done, as you've mentioned, a pretty nice job with most of these things all year.
Do you want to do extra corny? You want to go real?
I'll leave that to you. Go ahead.
Really not Boston sports media at all.
Yeah.
Let's say you get that moment, right, and everyone cheers. First pitch hanger, he just crushes it over the monster.
Now we're just...
And then they start playing that music from the NFL Hall of Fame as he runs the bases.
Now we're just creating theater.
Na, na, na. It could be a moment. Could be big, too. That you want to win the series. That'd be 10 series wins in a row.
It would be, which is the most since
I don't know,
early
since
19...
Ty Cobb roamed the earth.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well before our time. Although there's a few people on the planet that were around back then. 116-year-old, something like that out
Kicking
there.
around out in the UK.
617-779-0985. Taking your phone calls on Drake May, what you think he is, where he ranks in the NFL, and also the Red Sox bouncing back from a loss, not something they've had to do too often over the last month plus. But I mentioned low-hanging fruit earlier, and we're going to dabble late in the show with some low-hanging fruit here. We hit on Adam Vinatieri and his roast of Bill Belichick. The WNBA continues to steal headlines. You go to ESPN, they're like all over the place. You got technical fouls being rescinded. You got clotheslines. You got gender. You got race. You got everything in the WNBA. Sophie Cunningham, MAGA Barbie, is that what we call her, was clotheslined last night, and it just has led to a lot of attention for the WNBA. We'll touch on that. And I say touch because we're only touching. We're not diving deep. We're not going off the rails here late in the show, but we'll touch on the WNBA and all that they have going on next here with your phone call, 617-779-0985. couple years now, because obviously you had Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese coming out of college, kind of putting the WNBA back on the map or elevating their notoriety. And I looked today, and I was talking about this earlier, like ESPN, all their headlines were about Sophie Cunningham getting clothesline. Like right now, even though it's not that, it's actually the halftime of a game. The Liberty up 50-39 over the Aces right now, if you're wondering, at halftime. But they're the most talked about league right now in general, I would say. Actually as a league entity. Like the Red Sox are probably talked about more as an individual team, football. But like this idea of what the WNBA is, we're not necessarily digging deep into the gender. I said that.
No.
But you have some of that going on social media.
You sure do.
But last night you had Sophie Cunningham, who is really taken full advantage of her lot in life with Caitlin Clark. She became sort of her enforcer back when everybody was talking about how nobody liked her, nobody was standing up for her, and now she
picked a great time to point at someone.
100%. She's a meme. She's on a lot of ads. Got a lot. I'm not sure I could tell you really specifically what they are. I just know I see her on my TV screen during commercial breaks a lot. She's making herself, I'm sure, a lot more money off the court than on the court right now. And last night was clotheslined by, I should probably get the first name. I know it's Carrington. The Skies Dejanay Carrington was assessed a flagrant 2, ejected, and then went to social media.
Immediately.
I would tell people, this is anybody. This is Wilson Contreras, anybody. Don't offer to meet anybody outside the stadium. Don't comment on why you were ejected. Don't do anything. I mean, I guess if you wanted to just, I'm sorry, send, maybe an I'm sorry. I still don't think it's a great look to be interacting on social media when you're supposed to be on a court or a field or a whatever.
Like Pablo Sandoval,
not great.
In the big booty pics during the game.
I don't think that's great either. But Carrington went on social media and wrote white privilege and added Sophie Cunningham's team, the Indiana Fever. So, first of all, what are your thoughts on just the play itself that I think would make Bill Laimbeer proud?
Yeah.
The 80s were like, basketball's back, baby.
Even in the 80s, this probably would have crossed a certain line because there was going up for the block. It's a fast break. You can miss the ball sometimes and make head contact. She finished through the neck. If you pause it at a certain point, Sophie Cunningham's neck is snapping back so violently, like I was concerned for her vertebrae.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's no question about the violence. I'm not sure Sophie Cunningham came out after, so like I've never even spoken to her, so I'm not really sure what that's about. So, I don't know. It does feel, I look up sometimes in SportsCenter and ESPN's on, and there's pro wrestling interviews, like they cover it like a real sport now. I feel like the WNBA has taken on a WWE type that's sort of how it's covered. And it's not about the basketball or the wins and the losses. It's all about this friction and the fighting, and it just seems to never end.
And that was actually a point that Sophie Cunningham brought up last week sometime. She's like, how come we never ask questions about basketball? Because she's in the midst of this whole gender and protect the girls thing that she said. But I agree with you. I think the WNBA is testing the age-old theory that any publicity is good publicity. They're right on that fine line, where even Vince McMahon or one of these promoters are like, you really want that? You really want all of that smoke that you're kind of bringing on themselves? And then the other aspect is, are they taking advantage of it? Are they advancing the league? Are they building relationships with viewers that might be tuning in for all the wrong reasons?
Yeah.
Are they hooking them? Are they making them consumers? Are they making them a part of their business moving forward?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I know they're ripping a team out of New England for reasons that are maybe difficult to comprehend, but I think you talk about, Caitlin Clark having that technical yesterday.
Yep.
It does feel like, again, I would call it WWF. When I was a child, like the crooked ref was always like the storyline. Like, what? Are you kidding me? It just
Earl Hebner, Dangerous Danny Davis, I think was one of them.
All of a sudden, they're doing the body slams. It feels like there is an element of that, and you're kind of like, why? Why would they not nurture what was the most widely publicized college player of all time, entering their league, has sort of seemingly had an uphill battle to gain respect in that league? I don't know that they get more attention than I think they ever have. But to your point, is that a long-term recipe for growth? I don't think so.
I think
feels
it's
like a sugar rush.
It's interesting because forever this sort of marketing or the people that promoted it or the people that were like, it's purer basketball. They pass and they're fundamentally more sound and you're like, okay, is that drawing me in? Is it working? And it's almost like they said, well, selling ourselves as the purer game didn't work. So maybe we need to go rivalries and race and gender. And like the commissioner actually put out a memo, basically said that they're going to try defining what a woman is.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Tell the rest of the world.
Hats off to you for that endeavor. Make sure you do it in a public forum.
Right.
See what happens.
And I just wonder, and you're right, it does overshadow. Caitlin Clark's in a weird spot because she seems to work very hard to try to stay out of this stuff. Like, she almost never seemingly comments on these things. I feel like she goes the Jordan route where it's like, yeah, Republicans buy shoes too, and I want both sides. And by the way, the new Caitlin Clark Model 2.0 is available at Nike.com or whatever. It's a really interesting time for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it plays out. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't imagine the publicity is bad because you're going to get some percentage of the audience that maybe says, you know what, I actually like women's basketball.
That being said, the Liberty Aces game was on, and I flipped to the Red Sox. So
wow. Well, yeah, but it's
just
a little different.
Real pig move of me, but
it's our business.
I'll also say, like white privilege, I don't think we have enough time to cover that today. Yeah. However, it's a real thing. You can have some real conversation. I'm not sure where it factors in, where Sophie Cunningham gets absolutely clobbered with a clothesline, what she did wrong there.
Yeah, I actually wanted to. I want to make sure. So Carrington did not comment. Probably good. You probably should have not commented before you commented on social media. So is she implying that she was ejected because the person she hit was white? That's the implication there, right?
It could be.
I want to make sure.
It could be. Again, it's sort of, this is the third time we're going to do it. We applaud the Red Sox fans for being all invested in booing. Just picked the wrong time for it.
Yeah.
Very worthy cause to stand up, to shine a light on. Probably not the right moment and the right example to use to illustrate it.
Yeah, I would argue that Sophie Cunningham has benefited from white privilege. I think she has been put on a celebrity pedestal that her game and aspects of her makeup don't necessarily project her onto.
Right, you would assume she's like a star player based on the publicity.
I would also assume she's the hottest woman on the planet. She's not. And yet she has ascended to this notoriety level. But this instance, she was borderline assaulted. Like that is not a, we can joke about Bill Laimbeer in the 80s. That is not allowed in sports. That would have been a penalty in football. Head and neck area. Forcible blow to the head and neck area.
You would get kicked out of an NFL game for doing that to a quarterback, maybe even a receiver.
I think a receiver,
You could do it to a running back, though.
Yeah, you could do it to a running back with the ball because, they get their head
they're
down
running
the whole
backs.
thing. Yeah, they can take it. And I just... They're an interesting case study right now. Like if you were taking, I don't know what the major would be, like sports marketing or something, I feel like their commissioner, their league, their stars, their issues are a project, a full semester case study.
Yeah.
And the final would be really interesting, what the final conclusion would be there. But hey, we're talking about them, right? And you can't always say that. Can't always say we talk about the WNBA in Boston Sports Talk Radio. So I guess we're talking about them. Maybe that's a good thing. 617-779-0985. Coming down the home stretch here, final half hour, as we take you up to 2 o'clock here. Hart and Hurley on a Sunday afternoon. I did want to touch on the Patriots field.
Yeah.
You've mentioned it in your headlines. I don't think we've talked about it during the show today. It's been in your headlines. Let's talk about the turf, and I do mean turf, at Gillette Stadium. And what the hell is going on down there after the FIFA World Cup, as they've changed things over 2 or 3 times now since the soccer was done. So your phone call, 617-779-0985, up next here on Sports Radio, the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 90-
clotheslined. This just came across my timeline that I had not previously seen, but apparently there was a Sports Illustrated online headline about the incident that said Sophie Cunningham got a bitter taste of karma after drawing flagrant foul in Fever Sky. It's an interesting headline there. I guess
Click.
Karma. I thought it was Carrington that got her, not Karma, but apparently it was Karma. Yeah, I actually don't fault them at all. If you can get people to click, that's a win for you. That's the job we're in today, right?
I've in my navigation through various levels of employment entered into unknowingly basically a click farm.
Yeah.
It's a tough way to live.
It happens.
Guy laid down a bunt. Told you. Look at that. I should coach.
You really should. Should we tell the listeners what's going on? Nope. We're just going to stick with that and move right on to the turf.
Bunt on Eric Miller. You see Eric Miller, your bunt.
Okay. Did Wilson Contreras hustle after the ball got away from first base? That's what we should see. I don't know about that. But, Red Sox are on the field at Fenway Park, and the A's are threatening to score early. The turf at Gillette Stadium and across the NFL has been a story this offseason because obviously FIFA, all these Kansas City, New England, Philly, New York, Los Angeles,
Miami.
They're playing on real grass.
Miami's normally real grass.
Normally, but I get your point. Playing on real grass. And a lot of the players are like, hey, how come we can't play on real grass? And the owners are like, hey, we got to have concerts and Monster Jam too. That's why, because we need to put dirt and seats on top of it. But the Patriots are transitioning back, or actually already had transitioned back from grass to turf. So it's like, oh, it's fine. Except it wasn't fine. We find out from Mike Reese and others via reporting that the turf that the Revs played on just last night down in Foxborough,
which was their second home match since the World Cup.
Second home match, a 2-0 loss to the Dynamo, was not NFL certified because without getting into too many details, they didn't get some test. They needed to get tested about the pad underneath the turf, which normally goes on stadiums that have a concrete underlayment layer. They don't have concrete. They have stone dust. So they basically have, in my mind, what they have on like baseball fields all over New England, the stone dust field. That's what's beneath theirs. And whatever.
Seems like a technicality.
A little bit. And they petitioned the NFL to get this test run again. And the NFL's like, nope, you missed it. The window, the next one's in 2027. Sorry. So the Patriots, and I had this vision in my mind. I don't know if it actually took place, that they were like front-end loaders waiting for the Revs to literally get off the field last night.
Wrap it up.
So we can get digging because they do have a football game on Thursday. Hell, the teams probably want to hold a walkthrough on Wednesday before the game on the turf at Gillette Stadium. But
rookies have not been in there with cleats on yet.
So it's like kind of under the gun, but they are, I think probably as we speak, replacing the turf yet again. So they're replacing new turf with new turf, just new turf that is approved and installed in a way in which the NFL and the NFL Players Association will sign off on it. And from what I understand, the difference would have been like the bounce of the ball. Like some like kind of minor thing, some minor test, the bounce of the ball. But what do you think of all this turf talk down there at Gillette Stadium these days?
I will say, no one asked me until just now, so thank you.
I just wanted to give you an opportunity.
You and I both watched a ton of World Cup, and I think so many stadiums looked absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gillette Stadium being one of them, and the natural grass was a reason why. And I'm a purist. I miss when. I think you might agree with me here. I miss when people used to play football and their uniforms used to be dirty after the game, not just this rubber, synthetic turf. So
it's how you judge quarterbacks, right? Like if the back of their jersey had grass stains on it, it means the O-line had a bad day and the other team's pass rush was hitting him, all that.
Yeah, and even, in Seattle, in the Seattle Super Bowl out in Phoenix where they paint the grass and everyone had that sort of lime green, even if it's fake, I thought it was cool. The fact that you don't get any, so it's better, and I think the players have a case, but they'll never win the battle.
Nope.
They'll never win the battle. And literally the answer, players say, hey, why can't you did it for the World Cup? Why can't you do it for us? It's because they weren't going to play the World Cup if you didn't do it. You're a players association. You just don't have that kind of standing. So I think I wish it weren't the case, but you just look at the Gillette calendar. They just had BTS in there. They got Chris Brown and Usher a week from tomorrow. You going to be there?
Nope.
You heading down for that one?
Nope.
The banana ball's coming through. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You could probably do that on natural grass. Bruno Mars back-to-back nights in early September. Karol G's coming back.
Who?
Karol G.
Not familiar. Karol G is an artist that can sell out a football stadium.
A couple, maybe 3 years ago, it was the same thing. And then I looked, and she, I believe, is Spanish language speaking. So it wouldn't. We wouldn't be familiar being English language.
No
speakers.
hablo español.
Ed Sheeran's coming back-to-back nights in late September. Zach Bryan is coming back. We know he's a big draw. So you can't do all that with the grass. Did you see what Noah Khan did to the outfield at Fenway?
Yes.
He wears you out. In football, you need a little bit more footing. You got big, heavy guys in there playing wrestling in the middle of the field. It's unfortunate, but I think those days are gone.
Yeah, the only way you can do it, and like this probably is never going to be an option at a place like Gillette, is have one of these fields that moves in and out. And then you have the concrete floor below it that you can put dirt on for Monster Jams.
Like the Raiders
seats.
do it.
Yes.
The Cardinals do it.
That ship has sailed in Foxborough. That has to be in the original design and significant cost. Or some of the ones you see in Europe that have like the field's actually on little elevators and they go down and over and move and like these whole, almost like it's freaking the Avengers or something type thing. That's never going to be an option for...
Maybe you could get like 4 helicopters on the corners and you could just lift it.
Just lift it out.
And drop it down.
Yeah, sure. Sure, why not? I'm sure that's cheap. They got plenty of room down there to store it out in the parking lot while BTS is on the field singing and everybody's enjoying their time. Like, I totally get the player's side of this.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those like...
I also get the owner's side of it, which I don't say very often.
I do too.
Because you can't have this massive structure that costs billions to build and you can only use it 8 times a year.
Right. And you can't have a salary cap that goes up every year because of all the joint revenues and monies and different things. And then be like, but I want grass. I want you to like give away money. I don't want you to make as much money. And like, I feel for them because it's their knees, it's their heads, it's their bodies that are on the line. And I do think the game is a marginally safer, a little bit safer on grass. And I do believe it's more enjoyable. I still like a good rain game where it gets a little slick and muddy. Now, I don't want the old Gillette because at the end, Gillette, when they had real grass and dirt in the middle of it was awful and it was designed.
You mean Foxborough?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bill thought they were a slow team, so he kind of leaned into it and like tried to slow down other teams when they came. Seymour hated it.
They beat the Dynasty Niners, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah. It was part of a home field advantage for them.
Yeah.
But it was ugly and the NFL forced them to replace it and all of that. But a nice grass field, and I don't know if you could have hydration breaks. Like during the soccer, the sprinklers would come on. Yeah, they drink. The field gets a hydration break. Everybody plays on this beautiful green surface. I also would say, even well-maintained real grass is difficult in the NFL. Would you say they're wrestling in the middle of the field? Like
right. You look at Pittsburgh, and Pitt plays there on Saturdays. I think high school games are played there on Fridays. By November, the field is wrecked, and that's more dangerous.
And so and you don't want them to raise their ticket prices, right? Like to keep, okay, so we're not going to bring in as many events. So to do that, instead of you paying $100 a game for your ticket, you're going to pay $1,000 a game for your ticket because you're making up for the 9 concerts where I would have sold your seat.
Right.
No one's going to sign up for that kind of inflation.
Right.
So the reality is you're stuck with field turf in most stadiums.
Yeah, I mean, it's doable. Like I mentioned, Pittsburgh is sort of one of the, like Baltimore has grass, right?
I believe Baltimore has grass. Yep.
Never seen real issues there, and they host a fair amount of college games. I mean, at least they do the Army-Navy game, but
that was one.
There's one. Denver, they can go grass in Denver in the winter. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I didn't remember an issue there. They played there late January last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm totally for grass and football. It's like I don't want roofs on stadiums. I want outdoor football because I like weather and elements and all of that.
Some people don't, and I think they're sick in the head.
Yeah.
They see a snow game and they're like, this isn't football.
No, I think it's the greatest thing ever.
That is football.
It is absolutely football. Every kid grew up wanting to play in the snow. Now, I don't know if they want to grow up playing in the snow with a Super Bowl on the line and feeling like, well, we didn't go to the Super Bowl because it snowed that day. I don't know if that's how they feel.
That's life, kiddo.
But it makes them memorable and it is fun, and that they can control because that doesn't really alter their other business models. Although I guess maybe concerts are nicer. You did have Taylor Swift in the rain at Foxborough last year.
That was a few years ago now.
A couple of yeyears ago. So if you have roof, you could have had a dry Taylor Swift concert. So maybe it is some value, but not that much.
No, it's never going to be what it used to be, and I think that's a damn shame.
How old are you?
I had a big.
In my day.
I had a milestone birthday this summer. So
Did you really? Turned 50 already, huh?
Yep.
Did
60,
you really?
60 actually.
70. You're halfway to the oldest
Halfway
man
to
in the world.
113, baby.
617-779-0985. We'll wrap things up here. I did want to have a shout out. I don't know if you are ready to talk about this. You want to talk about high school football recruiting?
I didn't prep that, but I'm ready for it.
We have a little note on high school football recruiting and how it relates to the state of Massachusetts next. Hart and Hurley here on a Sunday afternoon, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub. It's not often we talk about like high school football, college football recruiting in these parts. But did you know, Michael Hurley? And the answer may be no.
The answer, I'm going to just spoiler alert. The answer is no.
Okay, so do you know who Chris Vargas is?
Son of Brian Vargas.
Who's Brian Vargas?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Just taking his guess.
So Chris Vargas is a quarterback in the class of 2028, St. John's Prep. He's from Lawrence.
Oh.
And yesterday, he announced his commitment for college football as the number one quarterback in the recruiting class in all of America. So that includes California and Florida and Georgia and all those places. And guess what?
Texas.
He's in little old Massachusetts, and he's going to little old Ohio State University.
Wow.
For Ryan Day, formerly UNH product and builder of the OSU program. And I also find it interesting. I don't know how much veracity there is in this, but I'm just going to go with it. The Bussin' with the Boys podcast put out that the 6'4" stud out of Lawrence, Mass has a NIL valuation of $457,000. So I'm guessing that's what they think Ohio State is paying for this kid to commit to Ohio State.
Not bad.
That's a pretty good get. I would take that right now.
Yeah, a little $500,000 when you're a teenager.
But I don't know. I don't follow a lot of this stuff real closely. I don't think Massachusetts has ever had the number one quarterback in the country before as a recruit for college football. I know it's improved.
We usually get your like Scrappy Doug Flutie types.
Yeah, a little bit. That's
undersized. Kind of our MO.
And, you know, there's been guys in recent years. There was a kid that went to Clemson, I think, South Carolina, and some of them don't end up staying where they commit to. They kind of, change their commitment, or they go there for a year, don't play, then transfer somewhere else. But I don't know. As a follower of high school football, my son has graduated now, but it's kind of cool that the best quarterback in the country is in the state of Massachusetts.
And he's class of 28?
That's what it says.
So he's a sophomore?
2028, yeah. I believe he came on the map in 8th grade, started playing, was already. And the way all this works now, they go to camps and 7-on-7s, and all of a sudden they have, a 5-star profile. But he's going to The Ohio State University. Apparently they are already talking there about pairing him up with another Harrison. There's another Marvin Harrison child.
Interesting.
And that those two could be sort of the future of Buckeyes football down the road as a quarterback wide receiver tandem.
Plus, I think for whatever reason, Jeremiah Smith just has to stay at Ohio State for 11 years, it seems like. So he could still be there in a few years.
But no, that's congratulations to Chris Vargas, son of maybe Brian Vargas, or maybe not sure what
probably
the
a Vargas
situation is.
Whatever, he's got a name.
Situation is who
that's cool.
Who just signed with Ohio State. So
should I head to some St. John's Prep games this year?
I feel like they're probably going to be pretty popular.
Yeah.
I think I read he had 24 touchdowns, 2 picks last year, a real high touchdown interception.
I just found his Twitter. It says Coach Brian St. Pierre, former BC quarterback.
Yes, sir. Yes, that is absolutely true.
So he's getting coached up.
A lot of star power down there. Did we get an update? I didn't even pay attention. Did Wilson Contreras bat? Michael Hurley built his whole show and campaign.
I think they went down in order. Let me see.
Around the fact that you could cheer Wilson.
He's going to lead off the second. So
Okay.
it's all building to this.
Also for Mr. Hurley, who was a big fan of Eric with a K, Miller, the hefty lefty, who opened the game well.
First pitch, lined up the middle for a single. Next guy sack bunt, but guess what? The big fella couldn't field it properly. Threw it into the base runner's buttock.
Ends up giving up 1 run, so the Red Sox are trailing 1-0 at Fenway Park with Brian Bayo on the mound.
The Boo Birds might be out today.
Yeah, careful, Contreras. Down 1-0, Bayo on the mound. You come up, you might want to hustle. I don't know how you're feeling early in the game with the illness and everything that's been going through. You might want to hustle because the Fenway faithful might be a little bit ornery these days.
I mean, it's an important week, I would say. You kind of, we'll see how this series goes. You want to win this series, right?
You do. This is a series you should win.
The A's
they stink.
Are 6-25 since basically aligning with the Red Sox streak.
Yes.
The exact opposite has been the A's.
And they beat you twice.
And
they're leading right now for a third potential win.
So you got to win this one. And then you go to Toronto. They're having a terrible year. You go to Pittsburgh. They always stink. You got to win. You can't lose the momentum. You have to win them all, but you got to win.
Are we waiting for the other shoe to fall? Real quick here. The Rob Parker thing, is there even some of us fans, media types, New England, are you kind of like, yeah, I'm buying in because 70 games is a big sample size, but...
Yeah, I mean, you need the reinforcements. Rushman might join tomorrow.
That's quick, by the way. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably went to Worcester and was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Lehigh
Throwing
Valley
guys
anymore.
out. I'm hitting rockets down the right field line. I'm ready.
There's a smiley face mascot. I don't even know what that thing is. So I'm sure like that'd be a big. And Anthony increased. If you missed it, he was taking overhand batting practice last week. I think
Nice.
Monday, Tuesday, and then Chad Tracy explained the next step would be increase the velocity. So facing a machine that can really pump it in there.
Yeah,
he was doing that.
Okay.
So I don't know when you're targeting that, but if you could get him back by the end of the month, that'd be huge.
And if you're a Woo Sox fan, you kind of have Rushman coming through. I'm assuming you might have Roman Anthony coming through town. You could have Garrett Crochet coming through town.
I would hope so. You get. I think you should leave night August 27th. I don't know if you're a fan.
What is that?
The Tim Robinson show on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
They're having a little spectacular night there at the end of the month. Could be a big month in Worcester.
Yeah, that's and I said to you, you said you haven't been out there. It's a fun take.
I gotta
Whether
get
you're
there.
going to see the regular team or you're going for one of these target nights because you think you're going to see Anthony or Crochet or Rushman, it's a Polar Park. Good take. Good
I
take.
gotta make a run. I did see Franklin Arias 2 at bats in Portland this year when I went.
Oh, nice.
Strikeout and a ground out.
And you could see him out in Worcester. So, yeah, if you can't get to Fenway or it's a little pricey, maybe you got a big family and you're trying to get a outing with the kids and you don't want to go see Spider-Man like Michael Hurley will be at
I'll be there in a few hours.
Decent cost. Head out to Worcester because there's a good baseball team and some star power coming through.
So Contreras didn't get the standing ovation. He did get plunked in the rear end.
He can't be happy, even though it happens all the time.
At least it's his backside and not his melon.
Yeah, he doesn't look overly happy, though. He's going through a lot.
Yeah.
He's getting booed. He's getting plunked. He's going through a lot. But that's going to do it for us.
He could use a spa day.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, right in the belt.
Oh, yeah, it's a little above the bum.
Sensitive.
A little more of a sensitive area. But that's going to do it for Hart and Hurley on a Sunday afternoon. We appreciate you listening. Appreciate all the phone calls and the interaction. I'm not sure when we back on together anytime soon. You got anything lined up?
I'm working next Saturday. I don't know if it's with you or not. I think it is.
Maybe
Why
it
not?
is. I look forward to
Hope
that.
so.
But enjoy your Sunday afternoon. I'm going to go try out my floaty, put my bum in the water, and I did get some nice advice from a guy in Hawaii that said if you